Basement, the experts at woodsbasementsystems.com.
We are Woods, we fix basements for your peace of mind.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
As your employees are transitioning back to work, you want to provide a safe environment for them to work in. Jan Pro Commercial Cleaning has been servicing buildings and facilities throughout the metro for over 20 years. Jan Pro offers a range of disinfecting services that can eliminate 99.9% of germs that spread common illness and contagions. Has no adverse effects to the environment, staff, or visitors. For a no-obligation quote, contact Jan Pro Commercial Cleaning at jan-pro.com. That's jan-pro.com. Commercial cleaning for your office or facility. It's Jan Pro Commercial Cleaning at jan-pro.com.
Are you looking for ways to increase the value of your business property? Well, repainting is one of the most cost-effective options. Let the expert team at CertaPro Painters help protect your investment with professional results. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business you can support. Contact them today at CertaPro.com and discuss your project and get a proposal. CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
You know, when you use the bagel loan with Stewart's American Mortgage, you don't pay the fees that every other single lender is going to charge you for. And I have had people who are close to me, coworkers, people who are, friends and family of mine say, Annie, okay, when he says there's no fees, does Stewie really mean there's no fees? And I'm like, absolutely. Of course. I'm telling you that. Why would you not trust me? You can trust me. I have done a bagel loan refi with Stewart's American Mortgage. And just as he said, the fees aren't there. He doesn't roll them into the loan. So he tucks them away where you can't see them. They're not there. He set up his entire business model around the idea of being able to serve you in that way. And it really has been successful for so many Annie Frey Show listeners already. Call Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Mention the Annie Frey Show and say you heard Annie talking about this and you want to know how it can help you. He will set you up right away. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Join the conversation digitally. Download the radio.com app so you can live stream from anywhere. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us, that's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Like I was just saying, I feel very nervous.
Yeah.
The same way I did 4 years ago at this time.
That's Bill Maher there talking about his feelings about the election season so far. And he's saying he feels nervous, just like 4 years ago. Well, we all know how it turned out 4 years. Well, that's not true. Not everybody. Hillary hasn't really quite come to grips with that yet. But 4 years ago, Donald Trump won in a shocking turn of events. And Bill Maher there saying the same thing. Now, I have to tell you, folks, I'm hearing a lot of things on our media coverage of the unrest that's taking place across the country. And if you are on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page last night, I don't know. I guess I felt like I felt more comfortable doing this last night because I assume that most kids are in school, so most kids are in bed now. But I did a watch party on Facebook for one of the riots that were taking place, protests / riots, call it whatever your particular side wants to call it, in DC. And boy, was that something to witness. This is not unlike anything that we've seen in St. Louis, in the Ferguson riots. It was very similar. I was like, yeah, I've seen this before. But it's been 6 years, 5-6 years since we've had these here, at least with the repetitive nature that it is happening in other places around the country right now. So at night, when the lights go down, the protesters come out. After the protests kind of get hijacked a bit by some people who have, in my opinion, worse intentions than the protesters do, they turn into rioters. I don't think that there are protesters and rioters out at midnight in Washington, D.C., saying some of the most heinous things, screaming the most heinous things to these police officers who are standing there, protecting federal buildings in some capacity and trying to keep the peace. Man, it is unbelievable to see and hear it with your own eyes. So I started this watch party last night so that I could watch with you folks, and we had like 65, 70 people watching for a while. And it's interesting to compare what you hear and see while the riots are going on. And then when the sun comes back up and everybody gets their full face of makeup on and their nice clothes and they get behind the cameras and they've got all of their political points all lined up nicely in a row on the papers in front of them, then how do people start talking about it? It's Joe Biden's America. This is Trump's America. It's one or the other. I'm here to tell you right now, I don't know if this is going to frustrate everybody or make everybody happy or somewhere right down the middle. This is not Joe Biden's fault. This is not Donald Trump's fault. It just isn't. It is, however, their responsibility. The idea that, in my opinion, what's taking place across our country is the absence of anybody taking any responsibility for anything anywhere. And the most frustrating and annoying thing for me is to, at night, be laying up in my bed, learning new 4-letter words that I, in my near 40 years of life, hadn't heard these things before, that they so willfully shout at these police officers, lecturing these police officers with the most disgusting, degraded, foul language. There's no solution involved in anything that they're doing at these late night riots. There's no solution. They're just angry. And they're just being permitted to act like little infantile children throwing a fit because nobody told them to go home and go to bed. Nobody told them to go home and to work on getting a job or contributing to society in a way that could actually make something better. Because the difference between the protests and the riots, one of them you would think has an end game. They have something that they would like to achieve. The people who are out late at night, burning buildings, setting fire to police buildings, they cemented the locks. They poured cement. I think this was in Portland. They poured cement into locks and set the building on fire with people inside. That's insane. This is absolute depraved insanity. And until, you know whose fault it is, in my opinion? Until we see, if Black Lives Matter is not responsible for what is taking place late at night, like what we watched last night on my show, then I want to see them separate their message from that violence. I want to see the people who are trying to get the attention of the American people, who don't want to be conflated with the violence that is taking place, the deaths that are happening. I want to see those people separate themselves. I don't want Joe Biden. Well, I want him to, but I think it gives way too much power and authority to Joe Biden, who wants to be the president of the United States. It gives him way too much power, authority, and credit for him to denounce that. He needs to be working with the people who may be supporting him for president, likely are supporting him for president. He needs to be working with them to get to a solution, because it's not enough for Joe Biden to just say violence is bad and then he gets to check the box and get credit for that. Same thing with Donald Trump. And, I get it. It's an election year. It'd be super naive of me to be like, well, we need to do more than just try to blame the other side. I get that. I understand that it's not that simple. But we are playing in a world right now where the stakes are too high for them not to actually solve a stinking problem. People are getting shot in the streets. You have people showing up out of nowhere to try to participate in this because there is a void that exists. There is an absence of law and order. There's an absence of authority, and people are showing up to try to fill that void. So we're going to need more than words from these people, from both Trump and from Biden. We cannot give our own politicians credit for saying something. We need to give them credit after they've actually done something. And I've seen President Trump has said multiple times, I would love to send some federal help in to assist you. And time after time after time, we're seeing these Democrat mayors say, no, you are the last thing that is welcome here. Your assistance is the last thing that we want here. That tells me that those Democratic mayors are more interested in winning a political fight and potentially losing constituent lives than they are in actually solving this problem. It's unreal to see how easy it is for these politicians to play politics while people are actually dying in the streets. This is actual life. So spare me the, well, this is Joe Biden's America or this is Donald Trump's America. This is our America, and these are our neighbors, and these are our, coworkers and friends and family members who don't know if they are going to go to bed safely tonight. So if Donald Trump's help is not going to be welcome, Donald Trump's supposed to go to Kenosha tomorrow. He was told, you're not welcome here. And he said, well, I will be coming anyway. So we'll see how that plays out. So while we are waiting, while we are looking at what is taking place in our country, and hours of cable news time is bickering between Republican politicos and Democrat politicos about, no, this is really Donald Trump's America. No, this is really Joe Biden's America. Let's look and see who's actually doing something in that process. I see the president trying and it's not working. He's going to have to figure out something else to do. He's going to have to work to make a difference. My estimation is that this president has always continued to try to work to make a difference, and he has drawn a hard line. We know where he stands. When you are looking at Joe Biden's America, we don't really know what Joe Biden's America is, save the last almost 50 years of existence that he's basically been in office, serving in some capacity. Did he get to drive the wheel? I mean, he was the vice president. He was in the front passenger seat. What does this look like under Joe Biden? What does it look like under Donald Trump? I see Donald Trump working and trying to get something done, and he has not solved the problem yet, which means his work is not done here. So I will watch to see if he continues to keep his eyes squarely focused on law and order in this country and establishing it to make sure that we understand that if we reelect him, that effort will continue. If Joe Biden is only going to come out and denounce this after, from everything that we hear, his poll numbers started to sink, I don't even know if that's a talking point. I don't even know if that's something that they, that the Republican side said, well, his poll numbers dipped a little bit. Let's attribute it to the fact that he's been in his basement and he hasn't come out and said anything about this violence. I think everybody needs to be working to separate the violence from any other message. Otherwise, the message is lost. If there is a Black Lives Matter message that they want to get through, that the organization wants to get through to the American people, they need to denounce these riots. And if they don't, then they're going to be complicit in them. I need to hear it. It needs to be front page news. You need to go on CNN and make sure that CNN hears you say that. Joe Biden needs to know that that's where his constituency lies. These people who have a message that is about inclusivity and equality, that they want to make sure that the violence stops. Why is it so hard for us all to agree that the violence needs to stop? Who is afraid to say it? And if anybody is afraid to call it out, you better ask yourself why that is. This is not a Republican Democrat problem. This is an American problem, and it needs to be solved. So while we are trying to figure out hour after hour after hour and plead our case and finish the proof on why this is actually Joe Biden's fault or this is actually Donald Trump's fault, I would like you to ask yourself, who is going to make it their responsibility to stop it? Who is going to take it upon themselves to work tirelessly to make sure that we Americans feel safe? Because at the end of the sentence of whose fault is this, you just get a name. You get no solution. And finding out whose name is at the end of that question doesn't make anything better for anybody. It just helps somebody win an election, which is the problem here. It's always about the election. The stakes are too high right now, folks. People are dying in the streets. More people are going to die in the streets if we don't do something now. And it obviously has to start with us. Which of these candidates is going to make it their responsibility? That's the question that I'm asking going forward. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Dr. Scott Hardeman is going to join us. We got Frank in studio. Hi, Frank. How you doing? Doing well? Had a great weekend. He's waving, which is always wonderful on the radio. Ryan is in studio as well. Ryan is going to help me ask some questions to Dr. Scott Hardeman and make sure that we get all of your questions in.
Ryan didn't wave.
Ryan didn't wave. He doesn't wave.
You're darn right I waved. That's
He's
all
too-
I did.
he's
I was
too-
trying to leave Annie hanging.
Yeah.
There, see?
Wow.
There you
What
go.
would I do if that happened?
I
I
missed
don't
you,
know. We got Frank and Ryan in here. Katie will be back tomorrow. She's taking a much deserved, a little long weekend. So stick around. We're going to do some non-biased COVID reporting when we come back, including your questions. Comment on the Facebook Live. Comment on the Annie Frey YouTube Live. Back in a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You know, when you need a really good advocate, somebody who is going to help you watch your own tax dollars, if you're in the state of Missouri, boy, are you in luck. The Show Me Institute at showmeinstitute.org is working extra hard to make sure that all of that legwork is done for you. They can provide you factual information with, basically articles, presentations of what is happening with your tax dollars in the state of Missouri and how it could be better. It's so great to have that advocate out there fighting for the Missouri taxpayer, and the Show Me Institute is doing it every single day. They believe in free markets, and they believe in you, the Missourian. They think that Missourians should be free to invest in themselves and their families to make Missouri a better place to live. Don't let government officials continue to pick winners and losers with your tax dollars. Let the marketplace decide. You can visit their website at showmeinstitute.org and join them in the fight for common sense public policy. The Show Me Institute, where liberty comes first.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers. And you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200. And always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original overhead door. The most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is looking to buy additional 5 houses in the next few weeks. We can pay cash and close in as little as 5 days. We buy houses in any condition, any location, and any situation throughout the St. Louis metro. Call today, 314-782-7000, or go to our website, www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. That's chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. Just go there, fill out your information, and we'll reach out to you. We buy houses and apartment buildings. Call us today to get an offer. 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. Or go online to www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. The process takes just 7 minutes to get a completely free, no-obligation cash offer for your property. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. 314-782-7000.
Hey, Chris here to talk about CertaPro Painters. Are you still putting off that painting project? Well, I was too until I reached out to CertaPro Painters, and I can tell you the whole process was worry-free from the initial meeting to the final cleanup. CertaPro Painters brought a level of professionalism and efficiency that is unrivaled. Plus, they treated my property like it was their own. And get this, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. That's right, they're a local business you can support. Schedule your free estimate online today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Get a bird's eye view of your commute every day. Dependable traffic with Sue Thomas, driven by Ambassador Floor Company with 100% employee installation. Experience more with Ambassador Floor.
Dreams, that's where I have to go to see your beautiful face anymore. I stare at a picture of you and listen to the radio. Hope there's a conversation.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
If you ask me how I'm doing.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for joining us today. Happy that you chose us, at least for a little bit here on a Monday. If you are enjoying a lunch break, we appreciate you tuning us in at 97.1 FM. And just a reminder, you can take us back to your desk, to your home, a variety of ways. The number one way is to listen to us on radio.com, which is an app that streams the whole station. So if you are here and you're leaving town and you want to take us with you, download that radio.com app, find 97.1 FM Talk, favorite it, and then whatever is airing on 97.1 at that time will be airing right there on your app. So check that out. You can also watch us on our live webcam at facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, the Annie Frey YouTube page, and also on Periscope right now at Annie Frey Show. And the comments that we get right now on our Facebook live chat, the YouTube live chat, or the Periscope live chat, we can include in the conversation, because each Monday at this time we have Dr. Scott Hardeman on the show. He is an ENT with Gateway ENT and also urgent specialist. He's a friend of ours here on the show, and we like to have some non-biased, straight from the medical community COVID stuff to talk about. Doctor, thanks for coming back on the show today. We hope you're doing well.
Thank you so much. You too.
So the number one question I have to ask you is kind of I guess it's personal to my life, but I want your medical advice on folks who, now that we've kind of started to go back a little bit, we're encountering people again. If somebody in your household comes down with the sniffles, and they don't have a fever, but they're showing signs of a standard cold, I think the immediate reaction is, I've got coronavirus. Of course, everybody thinks that they're going to get it if they haven't gotten it yet. And what is your recommendation for people who all of a sudden feel a little bit under the weather? Do you immediately go get a test, or what's your best advice?
Yeah, I don't think that's really necessary. I think the positivity rate across the state is around 8.5% or so right now. So that means that you've still got this massive greater chance of not having COVID or any other coronavirus at this point. We're with kids going back to school and getting out in society. And then, of course, we're seeing other viral and bacterial type infections too. So I think the best advice there is to acknowledge if you've had an exposure or if you are aware of anyone. Obviously, that changes the dynamic, but just watching your symptoms for a few days to see if you run a fever for 24 hours and you feel better within 48 hours, I wouldn't be overly concerned with that. And that's the big issue, I think, is the kids get back to in-person learning, is how the schools can respond to that on that level as well, because there are way more things that cause sniffles and sore throat and fever than coronavirus at this point.
Dr. Hardeman, I don't know if you saw that the CDC released some data Friday or over the weekend that, of course, as usual, went through the telephone line and had spin put on it by people and politicians, and everybody was taking sides on it. But the underlying data said that 94% of people who die while having COVID also had other health concerns. I just wanted to know if you had seen any of this that came out over the weekend, if you had any thoughts about it.
Sure. I'm not surprised we're going to talk about that today, because that was the big news story yesterday. So it played both ways. I think the initial impression was the CDC said that 6% of people that died of COVID, quote, one diagnosis like that. And everybody pivoted towards that and said, oh my gosh, it's being way overreported. And it's really only 6% of deaths actually, and not this number of 180 or so thousand that we have now. And in reality, I kind of took it the way you just said it, which is the other way, is to bolster, reinforce that we know that the folks who tend to get sickest or have the highest mortality rate tend to be those with other comorbid issues. So the reality is on death certificates, I think there's a number of things that you can put different diagnosis on. So there are, of course, reported cases out there of odd things like someone dying in an automobile accident, but they list COVID on the death certificate because they subsequently found that the patient had COVID, but they clearly didn't die of that. But that's probably really a small percentage in the grand scheme of things. I think a lot of those other comorbid issues, pneumonia, adult respiratory distress syndrome, other significant health issues, and to have COVID, I think all play into it. So I'm not really sure why they released that information, to tell you the truth. I think it was looked at the first 160,000 deaths that were coded and reported from COVID, and what they found was that if we only used one diagnosis, it was only 6%, but COVID was potentially related to all those other deaths as well.
We're speaking with Dr. Scott Hardeman, a physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist, the best in urgent care around in the bi-state region. Go to urgentspecialist.com for more information. This is kind of a broader based question, and it definitely involves your opinion on the matter. But I'm curious, over the course of all of this time, going back to maybe even January, is there any misconception that exists surrounding coronavirus? Is there any one thing that if you could just inject this amount of truth into the public and ask them to understand, maybe it was just something that we thought we understood at the beginning and drastically it changed? Is there any one piece of information or multiple pieces of information at that you just wish people would understand better about this virus?
Yeah, I think if I were to sum that up in one statement, it would be that it's not universally fatal if you get it. I think back in December, January, February, we were seeing these cases pop up globally. It seemed like the mortality rate was 10%, 12%, 15% or more. I think there was a perception that if you got it, it was game over at that point. And the reality is that's just simply not the case.
Is that because of where those first cases in Washington hit the United States? I mean, why was that so misunderstood at first?
I think probably largely because of information that came out from overseas. We were getting mixed information from Wuhan about the mortality rate and how aggressive this was. It was something new and different. People were reporting it as this catastrophic respiratory illness that people were, in the hallways and dying in the streets, et cetera. And then we saw all this information from northern Italy, and the hospital system was being overwhelmed at the time. Testing was not as widely available, so the people that were being tested were the sickest of the sick, and so it gave that perception that it was, again, very catastrophic and universally fatal. And that's not to minimize the severity of it. As we've talked before, you need to have a healthy respect of this, but I think the take-home point is that the absolute vast majority of people have minimal to no symptoms, and even those that get quite ill with it, most do recover. We're looking at some of the long-term sequelae, what that might be, but we know generally in the population who tends to get sickest and who tends to have the highest risk of mortality with it. And it's not something that is universally fatal. I mean, we're all hearing cases of our friends and family members that have had this, that recovered, some with comorbid issues at this point and still doing okay. So it's something to have a healthy respect for, but we can't continue living in fear of this. It bothers me when I see patients come in who are very, very fearful of the whole idea, as opposed to being respectful of it and just trying to limit their exposure and handle the situation correctly, but not to live in your basement in fear until a vaccine arrives.
Dr. Hardeman, we're a couple weeks into school, or at least theoretically into school now. We've seen a lot of reporting on kids and what coronavirus means or is doing to the youth and age brackets and things like that. I was hoping you could kind of clear that up on what you've seen as far as how coronavirus is affecting kids.
Well, historically, just from the information we have so far, not just here in this country, but overseas, is that kids that are around 14 to 15 years of age or lower, the infectivity rate is very low and the case counts are very low. At least here today, the report on for the county executive was that the case numbers between 15 and 19 are up. I think we would expect that to be the case. It's not just school. I mean, these kids are getting more social. Colleges are coming back. We're starting to see that happen. But I think we have to go back to, Annie, you asked that question a few weeks ago and said, what's our end game here, right? Yeah. I mean, we're not going to stomp this thing out. It's likely going to be an endemic situation. I think we have to protect people like we've talked about, but we're going to see cases like that. And if we don't see that there's massive outbreaks with multiple people getting very acutely ill and ending up in the hospital, if the support individuals, so the people at schools, teachers, et cetera, or older individuals are not getting sick with this from an exposure to isolated cases here and there at schools, and if we can keep those cases in schools as sort of a 1 or a 2 and a 3 or a 4 here and there, that's really good. We're containing it and controlling it at that point, and not going to be a situation where we see these massive spikes and overwhelm the system again.
I want to ask you one question before we get to a break here from a listener. And when we come back, we're going to field, we've got a lot of questions coming in, and anybody who wants to get their question answered by the doc, come onto the Facebook Live on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page or the Annie Frey YouTube page, comment, and we will try to get through rapid fire as many as possible in the next segment. But you mentioned this word here, and Brad on Facebook says, question for the good doctor. I've heard that COVID might be becoming endemic. What does that mean, and what does that mean for us? So you just used that word. I'm glad you did. Explain the difference between pandemic, endemic, and where COVID fits in there.
Well, the pandemic in this case, it sort of implies that it's something new and aggressive that has a high mortality rate and is going to rapidly move through society and create a severe uptick in numbers of cases and potentially mortality associated with it. Endemic implies more that it's just here to stay. It's around, it's at a low level transmission rate. We expect to see random cases of it from time to time, or potential spikes in areas, but it's not going to go away, quote unquote. It's never going to be something where it's just gone for good at this point.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's definitely something that people need to understand, and hopefully that helps folks kind of put it into context as to how you address your own health going forward, and addressing how you're going to react to the continued COVID news and information that is just coming in a flood towards people. It becomes quite overwhelming. Dr. Scott Hardeman is on hold. Is going to be on hold with us here. We're going to come back the next segment, and we've got a lot of questions coming in, but we are combing through them. We try to ask some that we get asked a lot. We try to ask some that might be new and current here. Get your question in by going to facebook.com/Annie Frey Show. You can see the Facebook Live there. We do this every day. And when you participate in that chat there, we can put you in on the show. We can ask your question. Same thing on the Annie Frey YouTube page. Your questions for the doc on COVID when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
You're not on my mind, but I go out and I sit down at a table set for two, and finally I'm forced to face the truth.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Not over you.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Save $500 to $1,000 when you upgrade your HVAC system. Spend that tax return wisely and get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Natural gas is cool.
Cool. Natural gas is used to heat things. It can't be cool.
Natural gas is clean burning, right?
Yeah.
Natural gas is easy to use, safe, and reliable, correct?
Yeah.
Natural gas is non-toxic and not harmful to us, right?
Uh-huh.
Well...
Natural gas is cool.
Learn more advantages of natural gas at mosafegas.com. A message from Mango, Missouri's natural gas operators.
Dr. Ryan Cleland at Infinite Wellness Center he's been a miracle worker for a lot of people who have been experiencing joint pain. I know that there are a lot of people who just think that this is just like, you get old, you have aches, you have pains. It's just part of the deal. It really doesn't have to be. And Dr. Ryan is always trying to encourage people to fight that pain and live their life to the fullest, to be able to stay active without having to hurt through it. If you have done steroid injections, if you have done pain medications, if you have arthritic knees, I want to suggest to you that you check out the regenerative medicine protocols that they have at Infinite Wellness Center. And if you mention my name when you call, just mention Annie and talk to them about hearing about them on the Annie Frey Show. You'll get 25% off, and you can get that up to $1,000 off care. That's a fantastic value. This is a solution for any budget that they can come up with to help accommodate you. And depending on the damage, the care may be covered by insurance, which could include Medicare. So if you have arthritic knees, if you have joint pain, reach out to 618-655-0333, 618-655-0333, online at infinitewc.com.
It's the 20th anniversary of 97.1, and we're celebrating 20 years of great Dave Glover Show moments with Michael's Flooring Outlet.
Do you think at this point,
you are the person in the universe that has used the Jazzercise the most?
Well, in reality, I can tell you this. I've used my Jazzercise less than 60 seconds. It took me about 20 first to realize, I think there's dirt on this.
Okay.
And another 20 to realize this is the single dumbest thing you've ever done. And then another 60 to just go, let's just give it a full try. And then I took it out of my mouth and set it down, and it hasn't been picked up since.
You may have been the only person to order Jazzercise during COVID.
DGS 20. Listen. Mike of Michael's Flooring Outlet. Proud to be Dave's first live endorsement and being part of so many sweet memories for the past 20 years. Thank you again, St. Louis and the Dave Glover Show. 97.1. Rock on. Check me out. IGotFloored.com.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Hey there, it's Billy with Inside Out Tax. I used to work for the IRS, and I help people every day get to the bottom of their tax problems. What most folks don't know is the IRS can show up at your door. These are field collection employees called revenue officers. If you've recently been visited by someone at the IRS, then give me a call to set up a free 30-minute consultation at 636-495-5700, or reach out to us through our website at insideouttax.com.
For news, entertainment, and information with perspective, national and local. Keep it here or download the app and stream anytime. 97.1 FM Talk at radio.com.
Don't think I've ever seen you.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Madhouse City. You got a look that says you got it all together. So if you don't mind, I'd like to know you better. Take me the long
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Monday. I hope you're enjoying your day. your work week. We are grateful that you're here right now, and we're always grateful. Each Monday at this time, we have Dr. Scott Hardeman on the show with us. He is an ENT, a physician at Gateway ENT, and also urgent specialists. You can find out more about urgent specialists online at urgentspecialist.com. This facility, if you're looking for urgent care, this is the best in the bi-state region, and it's very good to know about this facility before you're panicking and need urgent care. So go to urgentspecialist.com to learn more. Doctor, thank you very much for holding on the line. We've got a lot of questions here that folks want to ask you. We're going to start. Ryan's got a question from a listener. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just start with a practical one here that's not necessarily related directly to coronavirus, but in the era, of course. John asks, is it too early to get a flu shot now? Should we wait till maybe mid to late September? And then I would add, is coronavirus impacting that this year at all?
It's probably a bit too early, but flu shots are just now beginning to be available. So probably some places have seen them pop up, but it's going to probably be another 3 or 4 weeks or so before they're widely available. It is good to get a flu shot. I'm an advocate of that because I think, especially in this era, if we have the capacity at all to sort of harden our immune system against one of these respiratory illnesses, I think that'll help us delineate what's what, essentially, if you get sick with something this fall. So I haven't seen the predictions just yet on how accurate they are with the modeling as far as the virus this year, the flu influenza virus, that is, and what the vaccine's going to do. But I would say it's definitely something to get this fall for sure.
Awesome. Okay, let's see here. We're going to continue to go through these as quickly as we can to get the most in. Facebook, Joseph says, how do I deal with my horrible allergies without being jailed for 2 weeks? These people are dealing with allergies, and you feel as though you could be a villain in a Marvel movie when you sneeze and you have to sign affidavits that you don't have coronavirus. What's your advice to folks suffering from these allergies right now?
There was never a truer statement to that. If you clear your throat or have the sniffles or cough at all, people look at you like you're the pariah of the community right now. So I think you have to look at the infective nature of the illness. So the common symptoms associated with coronavirus or of a respiratory illness, fever, shortness of breath, cough, loss of sense of taste and smell, sore throat, that's different than allergies. And nasal congestion by itself, in the absence of any other significant systemic illness or symptoms, you just have to go through your day. And the reality is that most of these things that people have are not going to be related to the infection at this point. So in this case, nasal congestion by itself is a standalone symptom. Sneezing, we're heading into ragweed season here, and it's just, you're going to have those symptoms around. And he's absolutely right. Just manage those and not really worry about being out in public at this point.
This question comes from JC. It says, this is a question for the good doctor. And by the way, Dr. Hardeman, today everyone's calling you the good doctor.
Yeah, I think it's official. Yeah. You've persuaded them, I think.
On the subject of travel, what is the doctor's opinion on travel and traveling worldwide, and when will it be safe to travel again?
Well, the CDC, I believe, lifted the travel on a quarantine period of time in the United States now. I think that was about 2 weeks ago they said that. I think all of us just logically have thought you get on a plane, not just during coronavirus time, but in general, you think, oh, these are little petri dishes where you could potentially get sick. But there's some pretty good evidence recently and some studies and articles written about how the airline industry has really worked hard to prevent the transmission of illnesses through air filtration as well as sanitizing the planes. You're probably way more likely to get something as you pass through the airport than you are from actually being on a plane. And so in the United States, I think the travel industry, I'm hoping picks back up again. I think that people can move around the country safely. And, we don't hear a lot about upticks in cases associated with flights here and there. That's not something that's really been in the press at all. Globally, that's going to be on a country-by-country basis. I think there's countries where there's an exceedingly low number of cases, and coming from the United States, I can imagine that they're going to have travel bans, restrictions against us for quite some time. But, I think if the case numbers, despite what we think or hear, the case numbers as far as daily cases have leveled off and continued to decline nationwide, as have the number of daily deaths, which are all positive indicators, not to take it for granted, but positive indicators. And I'm hopeful that we'll see travel begin to pick back up again too. I mean, there's just so much other downstream damage that's happened from our response to this and from the illness itself.
Don on Facebook says, what does the doctor think about herd immunity at this point? We kind of talk about this every week, but it's definitely one of those things I think people are focusing on and keying in on and hoping for. This week, what do you think? Herd immunity?
Yeah, I think I keep looking to the countries or the states and regions within our country that are good examples of when we see the percentage of the population that's been exposed or was sick with this, that it seems like the case numbers rapidly drop off. I don't think you can universally say, well, that's just because we're masking and we're a quarantining society, et cetera, because most of the places are not too dissimilar from us as far as the requirements, mandatory mask wearing in urban areas and highly populated areas. So I use the example of New York and New Jersey. While that was kind of a fiasco initially as far as the initial response and how that got rolled out, and there's been a lot of deaths associated with it, it does seem as if the case numbers have just been drastically lower in areas where it sort of ran through the population and hit presumed to be about 20 to 25%. No one exactly knows what the level of herd immunity is with these things. I think it tends to be based upon the aggressiveness of the infective nature of it. If something is pretty aggressive and takes advantage of that initially, the mortality rate goes up, and then we start to see the chain of transmission begin to slow because it's just not jumping into people who are most susceptible at that point. So I would kind of predict that that's probably what we're going to see in those most recent places that saw the big spikes, like Florida, Arizona, Texas. Texas, has had a tremendous leveling of their active cases and number of cases, and their numbers are quite down at this point. And you have to follow the death numbers long term. And like I said, it seems morbid to talk about that, but I think that is a representation of how aggressive it is and the population is moving through.
We're on the phone with Dr. Scott Hardeman answering questions about coronavirus. Donetta from Facebook asked this question, Doctor. Why hasn't the CDC come out publicly to discuss the fact that there are some people who shouldn't be wearing masks? I have a child with asthma that has had multiple attacks when wearing a mask.
Well, I don't really have an exact answer to that, other than I think the narrative that we're being given at this point is that mask wearing slows the transmission of these illnesses. On a case-by-case basis, there are clearly examples where I think mask wearing can be difficult for individuals. But I don't know that at this point, I don't know that they're going to make a policy statement giving specific indications. They're probably going to leave that to the doctor and patient to work that through, where there are mask exemptions that can be granted if someone's health indicates it.
Dr. Hardeman, we have a caller, Jeff, here, who wants to know about the stats of COVID-19 deaths. Are you trusting the news, the information, the facts that you're getting out about COVID deaths? Because it seems as though over the course of the months that we've had these reports, we've heard of inconsistencies or errors. I think it kind of makes it hard to see how we're tracking if the numbers that we were recording in the first place may not have been as accurate, or if we're apples to oranges. What's your thought on the information that's out there right now about the stats of COVID-19 deaths?
Well, I would recommend for people that want to go look at that to not just look at one site. Hopkins has a site. There's multiple other sites out there as well that track as well as the CDC for that matter, that track the deaths by age group, the number of cases. It's good to probably look at a lot of different sources, or if you're going to look at a single source, to look at one that pools data from a number of other locations like that. I think we're getting better at that. I think the health departments are beginning to catch up and hopefully be able to trace cases, so 2 positive tests doesn't translate into 2 reported cases. I know that there's some of that stuff still going on, and I think it's just the nature of the capacity that they have as far as being able to track that. But I think the numbers are getting accurate all the time. You'll see some variances from reporting from day to day, which is why we've always talked about don't look at one-day spikes or one-day decreases, but look at the overall bigger picture over the course of 3 to 5, maybe 7 days long. So I think the data reporting is getting better all the time.
From Facebook, Julie asked the question, are teens who vape at a higher risk for serious health problems if they contract COVID?
Yes. I think clearly there's no question that smoking and vaping is going to turn out to be a real problem. I mean, we all kind of know that logically thinking, but there's chronic lung disease that can develop from that, no question, and things that cause chronic lung inflammation, just like in an older individual with bad asthma or COPD or something related to smoking. It's going to have potential more of an impact on that individual for sure.
So here is a question from, I guess, Donetta again. Have there been cases of people who have the virus early on getting it again? Any repeat COVID diagnoses?
Yeah. So generally, I'm going to say no to that because there's literally 2 case reports out there right now, one from Hong Kong and one from Nevada. They're not 100% certain how to track this, but the one case in Hong Kong was a person, I think about 4 to 5 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, between episodes, and they were able to completely sequence the viral genome and determine that it had enough differences to it that they felt like it was probably two different strains or mutations of the virus, that they were a separate infection. The key point, though, is that when they checked antibody levels early on in that person, for whatever reason, there weren't much circulating antibody levels after the first infection. But the second time around, it was a completely asymptomatic individual who was picked up while traveling through an airport in Hong Kong. They spent a couple of days in the hospital, never developed symptoms, and left. The case in Reno, I believe it was in Reno, was someone, again, about 30 days or so. And what really brought them back to the hospital was a pneumonia, which, pneumonia is more an inflammation or infection of the lungs, which COVID can trigger responses like that, but they didn't get into the details of whether or not this was a secondary bacterial pneumonia or what it was. It was precipitated by that. But when the patient had two previous negative PCR tests and then tested positive again, and there were some differences in the genome as well. But these are really, really isolated cases. I think that super rare, and I don't think that that's widely accepted that that's possible. But if you do, like with common cold or other coronavirus, if you do get a secondary infection from a mutation or different strain, it's highly likely that your body's immune system will recognize that and will be able to mount enough of a response that if you were to get it again, it's much less significant, much more mild, and also that you may not be able to transmit it to other individuals to the same degree.
Well, Dr. Brad on Facebook says this is more of a statement, but I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Scott for coming on here and answering our questions. It's one of the things that has helped me keep a proper perspective on this whole situation. Thanks to him and thanks to you for having him on. And I echo those sentiments. We need some just straight up factual information, and that's why we rely on you each week. Thank you so much, Doctor. Always a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too. Dr. Scott Hardeman, a physician at Gateway ENT and an urgent specialist. Seriously, folks, urgentspecialist.com. You need to know about this place before you need to have these folks. And I've been there. I've walked through it. It is stunning, and it's the best place to get urgent care. Quick break. Stephen Moore with the Heritage Foundation on the economy when we return.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, heard every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Nearly every week, our team meets with clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and in some cases actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion on your retirement plan today. When you work with us at the ClearPath Wealth Management Group, we're committed to providing you with guidance that's in your best interest. No exceptions. To request your free consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Again, that's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
With spending more time at home, you may be noticing the scuffs and faded colors on your walls, or the cracked, peeling paint on the outside of your home. Let the pros at CertaPro Painters take care of that project you've been putting off. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're a local business you can support. Schedule your free remote or on-site estimate today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
At Diamonds Direct right now, there's nothing standing in your way of owning that magnificent piece of jewelry. Nothing. No down payment and no finance charges for 5 whole years. People are driving for hours to do this. On any purchase, just take that amazing Diamonds Direct price, divide by 60, and that's your payment. It's a smart way to buy. Keep your money in your pocket and still get that amazing ring or band or bracelet, even that bigger diamond. 5 years, 0 interest on any purchase on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct.
All in N270 at City Place.
They're lurking in your basement, in the garage, unwanted appliances.
But how do you get rid of them?
Most haulers charge you money, but not D&D Free Appliance Hauling.
Just call D&D at 314-249-2951 to schedule your free pickup.
D&D Free Appliance Hauling will come to your home and remove your unwanted washers, dryers, fridges, stoves, dishwashers, and freezers fast and free.
That's D&D Free Appliance Hauling.
Serving St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Lincoln County, and the surrounding areas.
When you want to get rid of your unwanted appliances, don't pay for it.
Call D&D Free Appliance Hauling and let them come pick it up free. 314-249-2951.
314-249-2951.
314-249-2951. D&D Free Appliance Hauling. 314-249-2951.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
Rioting is not protesting. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That from Joe Biden moments ago, the Democratic presidential nominee visiting Pittsburgh to denounce violence of any kind from the left or right, as he accuses the president of encouraging violence by fanning the flames of hate and division. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany.
Washington, D.C., New York, Seattle, Portland, Minneapolis, Kenosha. All of these cities are Democrat run. All of these cities have experienced anarchy, violence, and destruction in recent days.
Blaming calls to defund police. The president visits Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow. The police chief in Portland, Oregon admits they could use some help as the mayor and the president there escalate their war of words.
Portland's mayor rejected President Trump's latest offer to send in federal resources to help deal with violent protests. But Police Chief Chuck Lavelle was asked over the weekend after a Trump supporter was killed how he plans to keep dueling sides apart moving forward. Lavelle says they have finite resources.
I think the best we can do is message to people that we want a safe city. And we ask them not to come downtown or to these other places with firearms.
He was asked if it's time to bring in the National Guard.
You know, I think we need additional resources as we see these things develop. It may get to that point.
President Trump called the mayor of Portland weak and pathetic. Mayor Ted Wheeler blamed the president for the violence and called him racist. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
And the president's former advisor, Steve Bannon, pleads not guilty along with a co-defendant in a fraud case involving crowdfunding for the border wall. A trial date now set for next May. The Justice Department's motion to dismiss the case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn for lying to federal agents remains up in the air. A federal appeals court today refusing to order the dismissal of Flynn's case. That allows a judge to review the DOJ motion. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special end of summer announcement from Dell. At our Labor Day sale, small businesses can save up to 50% on select business computers with Intel Core processors. We're committed to taking your business to the next level. Give our small business technology advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business with Labor Day savings. Visit Dell.com/business deals or call us at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
So who is your wireless provider? AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile? The average person is saving $400 a year by switching to Pure Talk USA. Pure Talk is on the same network, same towers, just 50% off in terms of price. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data for just $20 a month. Switch to Pure Talk today. Now, from your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Pure Radio. That's pound 250, Pure Radio, Pure Talk USA. Simply smarter wireless.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Let's call it a mix of clouds and sunshine the rest of the afternoon. 85 will do it for the high. Tonight, clouds really take control. Humidity continues to build. 70 for the overnight low. Tuesday, periods of rain and thunderstorms and quite humid. I think the best chance for rain and storms will be in the afternoon on Tuesday. 82 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday, scattered rain and thunderstorms at 85. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
Mark Cox here. If you need to drop a few pounds, call my friends at Slim 180. Get back in shape, feel great, weight off. You can use their traditional program, the medically supervised HCG Rapid Weight Loss, or the new Quick Start LipoLean. I use the HCG Rapid Weight Loss program, and the weight dropped off in a hurry, sometimes 1.5 pounds a day. All the Slim 180 centers are following COVID-19 guidelines to keep you safe. They've got gloves and masks and plexiglass dividers. You work with their counselors and their doctors one-on-one, either in person or remotely. They can even mail you products or have curbside pickup. You can schedule your free consultation today. They also work with flex spending and health savings account cards. 6 locations: O'Fallon, St. Charles, Sunset Hills, Creve Coeur, Chesterfield, and Florissant. Visit them online today and set up your initial appointment at myslim180.com.
Here's a great review of Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance from Terry. He says, we've had only the best experiences with Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. The service people are always friendly, courteous, reliable, completely knowledgeable, and very professional. As retired people, we have the peace of mind and confidence that our entire home is being well looked after, and we've discovered that if anything goes wrong, Upkeep is there, sometimes within hours. There you have it, folks. When you sign up with Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, you're not just getting a home warranty. You're getting their team of technicians who come out to your home 4 times a year to make sure everything is running smoothly and to make things easier on you. And like Terry said, if there's an issue, they are going to fix it so quickly because they already have a handle on the situation. You've forged this relationship over time, and you can trust your home to Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Code DGS gets you $100 off at upkeepstl.com.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is the place to go when you need to purchase flooring. And Michael understands that a lot of times they may not be your first stop because flooring, when there's a flooring department in the same store that sells paint or the same store that sells appliances, maybe you meander through and you kind of start thinking about, well, we could use this or we could use that product. Don't make a purchase until you stop by Michael's Flooring Outlet. And there are multiple locations that you can go to that will accommodate your needs. St. Charles County in Old Town St. Peters and Mid Rivers at Highway 70. You can go to West County on Olive Boulevard, just a mile off 270 East. Just a mile off 270 West on Olive. You can also visit them at Darting Prairie. And you can go online right now to michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Whatever your flooring needs are, whether it's, some beautiful carpets, some Mohawk Smart Strand Forever Clean Aero Revwood Plus flooring, or they bought a ton of waterproof flooring options for you. Comes in a hardwood finish, even a stone finish. Go there, get set up, the best customer service in the business and the best value as well. michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Critical thinking for critical times. The free exchange of ideas. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Download the radio.com app and stream the station wherever you go. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for choosing us this Monday. We are very grateful that you're here. Each Monday at about this time, we welcome our guest, Stephen Moore, on to the show. And we know that he's got places to be, so we want to get straight to him. Stephen Moore, thank you so much for coming on with us today. It's always great to have you here.
Hi, Annie. Good to be with you.
I want to ask you, I want to give you the opportunity to react to the case that was made by Donald Trump and the RNC last week with that convention. Did they give you hope that a Republican decision in November was the right one?
Well, I was there on Thursday night when the president made his case. I didn't think it was his best speech. I thought it was too long, frankly. But I think what he was able to do is really the compare and contrast between where the Democrats are and the Republicans are now, in terms of the economy, in terms of taxes, in terms of regulation, in terms of American energy policy, and most importantly, in terms of keeping America safe. You know, I told the story, it's been going around on the internet, that on Thursday when I left the White House after the speech, I got about 5 blocks out of the perimeter where the police were. And Annie, I walked right into a Black Lives Matter protest. And it was a pretty harrowing experience. I was surrounded. The people started, spitting at me and saying, "You're an effing pig," and all of this stuff. And it was, they were following me everywhere I went. And luckily a policeman, saw it and he came to my rescue. So I do believe, Annie, that blue lives matter because I think I might have gotten slugged or, punched or kicked or thrown on the ground if it hadn't been for this policeman. So, it's a dangerous world out there right now, and it's getting more violent. And I think that people are disgusted by it. I think this is the issue. The Democrats never brought it up, Annie. They never brought up the violence in their week-long convention.
Even more, we talk about economics with you so often because you're an economist, of course, but that seems to be the thing that usually decides elections. Is this year going to be different simply because it's so unprecedented, everything that we're going through?
Good question. If you look at the polling, it still shows economy number one, economy and jobs, because that's what people care about, their pocketbooks, and they still, especially now, care about their jobs. But I think you make a good point. Public safety is going to be a huge issue, in my opinion, a huge issue for voters. And I think that the Democrats have refused. I mean, my God, Kamala Harris called the rioters social justice warriors. I mean, come on. Is that somebody who's going to stop the violence? Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but Biden is now singing a different tune because guess what? They saw their poll numbers just collapse after their dismal performance at their convention. And the other issue, of course, is the virus. And here's another thing that, we've been writing every day about this in our newsletter. I mean, the fact is the news is very good on the virus, very good. We're seeing plummeting numbers of cases. We're seeing plummeting numbers of hospitalizations around the country, especially in those states like Texas and Tennessee and Florida and Arizona that had seen, the big increase. And remember, guys, when this spike went up, it was front page, every newspaper, right? Oh, massive increase in coronavirus. Have you seen any stories in the last 3 weeks about this rapid decline?
No, nothing that would be beneficial to Trump.
Right,
gets
exactly.
reported.
They act like they don't want the virus to go away. That's how much if people have to die and people have to go on unemployment lines, I guess that's okay with them if they can win the election. But anyway, I do think it's those three issues that are going to be key, and I think Trump has the upper hand in all of them. The polling now shows Trump is down about 4 points, and given the fact that about 4% of people lie about who they're going to vote for, I think it's pretty much close to a toss-up race right now. I really do.
We're speaking with the visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation, Stephen Moore, author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. And Stephen, I got to tell you, every time Ryan asks you a question and you say, that's a really great question, he just puffs his chest out for an entire week. That's all he needs.
Kick my feet up, take the rest of the segment off because I asked a good one.
I think he's keeping track of how many times he gets to hear that from you. I want to give you, before we let you go here, because we know you have to run, I want to give you the opportunity to explain to us where the economy is right now. Is it on the uptick and is it fragile?
It's getting better. We've created 9 million jobs over the last 3 months, but we still got a deep hole. I mean, come on, we shut down our economy for 4 months, and a lot of businesses are really still hurting. We've lost a lot of small businesses. It's a real tragic situation, but we are coming back. Ask me next week, Annie, that question, because we get a big jobs report on Friday.
All right.
That will tell us how many jobs we got. And I'm estimating about 1 million more. So that'll be 10 million jobs in 4 months. That's a pretty good record. But we still have 15 million to go. And I do have to run and catch my plane. But I will say this, that, Joe Biden made that statement a week ago Sunday. He said, if the experts told me to shut down the economy, nationally, I would do it. This guy's crazy. I mean, after everything we've been through, he wants to put, 25 million more people on unemployment lines, destroy every business in America. I mean, come on, that is a lunatic idea. And he said it. I'm not making this up, folks. Joe Biden said he would lock down the economy if that's what his scientists told me. The problem, of course, people will follow the science. What the left does is follow the scientists that they, want to listen to. There's no scientific consensus on this stuff. And so, I find that to be very frightening that he would do something like that. All right, I got to run, guys. But I will answer your question, Annie, next Monday when I have that jobs report.
I'm going to ask that question, and you're going to tell me it's a great question. That's all I want to hear. Thank you, Stephen.
Right.
Safe
I gotta
travels.
go. Bye.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Like he's actually getting on the plane.
Yeah, he's running onto the runway apparently.
Next week when I go, so about that jobs report, how is that? I want him to be like, Annie, that is the best question that anybody has ever asked me before.
So you're hoping he doesn't remember this
He
week.
won't. He won't.
He won't remember.
How many interviews
He's getting
do you
on a
think he does?
plane. They're handing him the little drink and the towel in first class.
You think? You think he flies first class?
Well, maybe business class.
You know, this economists are smart. They probably fly Southwest, and they're okay that they don't get their bag of peanuts anymore. I saw somebody was complaining about the quality, the like customer service and travel. I haven't fully researched this, so correct me if I'm wrong. I just assume that one of you two is smarter than me in this regard. But that that it used to be federally regulated what fares would cost, and the way you would earn a customer's service is just by providing a better experience. But the fares were federally regulated, and that apparently when they became deregulated, it was like now you can fly round trip to Vegas for $160 or something like that. And so you sacrifice your, hot towel treatment.
It was the Airline Deregulation Act of 1978. It's a federal law that deregulated the airline industry, removing the federal government control over such areas as fares, routes, and market entry of new airlines. So it's been a long time.
I wonder what it would...
Longer than you've been alive, dear.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my.
Yeah, not as long.
Ryan and I, though.
Wait, no.
Well, Ryan, I mean, what's it like being 48?
Hey, this is on the radio.
Early 70s, huh, Ryan?
No. I'm barely older than Annie.
No, you're not.
Barely.
Sure.
No, you're not.
And I'm not even close to being as old as you are.
No, you're not.
Someone said Katie needs to shave.
Where's your hair, old man?
Dude,
Yeah, it says
all
break
of this
with
is below the belt. All of it.
Are you sensitive about your age?
No, he's sensitive about his
I'm
hair.
sensitive about my hair. I don't care about my age.
Oh,
I've had no hair since I was 19. So
you're good with that. Or
Yeah.
not good with that.
no, I'm not.
It's an interesting the airline industry is it's a very interesting study in economics, because when you're setting when the cost is set for you, then you got to earn people's business based on your service. I personally would much rather fly for cheap than for fanciness. Like I don't hate traveling as like the point A to point B as much as I used to. I'm starting to enjoy it more, but I don't need fancy treatment. I want the cheapest flight I can possibly get.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we're free market capitalists here, right? We're going to agree on this subject that we should let the market do what it does. But
a nice Greyhound bus in the air, huh?
Well, hey,
is it
according
nice?
to free market capitalism, you can ride the bus or the plane, Frank. It's up to you.
Sure.
That's what's beautiful about it.
But isn't it great that they've upgraded as much as they have? On buses, B on planes. You can now plug your phones in. You can plug your computers in. All these things you didn't used to be able to do. I mean, you can actually just kind of zone out and not have to deal with the guy next to you who's crunching on chips or kicking his feet up or taking off his shoes.
Can we
you
talk
can just
about,
zone out. It's
can
great.
we talk about the loud talker on the plane?
It's your show, yes.
I think I think that this is something that needs to be discussed out in public. Are either of you the loud talker on the plane? I doubt it.
Not on a plane, but I'm a loud talker apparently everywhere else on my cell phone.
Is that what
tell
your
me.
wife says?
Yes. Yeah.
My wife.
People, as in my wife, are like, can you just go out of the house and have a conversation? Because no matter where you are, I can hear it.
No, I mean, like when you're on a plane, Frank, you're not a loud talker. You don't have like a booming register.
People still talk on the phone?
No, I'm not even talking about on the phone.
Okay.
I'm talking about like when you're talking to the person on the plane who wants to be your friend by the time you land, or a friend to somebody in range, talking range, which really what is talking range on an airplane? I just say sit
6 feet.
quietly, 6 feet. When you're sitting in the third or fourth row of the plane and you can hear every word of the conversation from the one guy or woman who's in row 22 of the plane, and they're just talking and they don't stop talking. It makes you think that maybe the other person really doesn't want to be in this conversation either. But do you know what I'm talking about? Or at restaurants?
Are you talking about somebody who just wants to be
anywhere.
friendly near you, or somebody who wants everybody to know that they're talking?
It's not even that. They just have a voice that carries. Like the way they speak it just transcends the audio sphere, and everybody
has to pay attention.
Yeah, you can't tune it out because it just.
So there's nothing they can do about it, though, is what you're saying.
No, they
so
could
it's
shut
not
up.
intentional.
They could
just shut up.
They could listen to their wife or their husband. Husbands probably do. Husbands, if your wife is a loud talker, do you tell them that?
What?
Yeah, I would. Especially on a plane. Well, here's another question for you: is that loud
You're
talker
talking too loud? You need to keep it down.
No.
Is that loud talker typically a woman or a man?
Don't do that.
I think that I think there's equal offenders.
I don't know. That is a very good question. If we were to look at society and pull out all the loud talkers, are we calling 20% of society is loud talkers? Is 50% of those 20% women or men?
I don't think there's any gender discrimination.
That sounded like a Yogi Bearism, but
is 50% of that 20% women or men? It's both, actually.
Yeah, I just feel like when you are in a public place that has a bunch of individual conversations happening, you shouldn't be able to hear. You shouldn't be able to almost participate in the play-by-play of the person at the booth next to you, or at the, in the aisle 3 rows back from you or whatever, or more. I don't know.
I think Stephen Moore is the loud talker. He's getting on that plane right now and he's loud talking.
And another thing.
Yes, I think he is. Don't you think?
I don't know. I
He
would
wants
never
to
say that about a
enlighten
guest
the
on my
masses.
show.
I'm not saying loud talkers are bad. You're the one assuming loud talkers are bad.
No,
I never went that direction.
I don't think that loud talkers know they're loud talkers. I don't think. I think it's a sin of omission, not commission.
And why is it a sin, Annie? Why is loud talking a sin?
Because it's annoying.
Yeah.
To who?
To everybody else other than that person.
I need to know. I need to focus.
Very negative.
How about a poll? Come on to the Facebook chat or the YouTube chat and tell us if you have ever been in a loud talker situation, if it bothered you, or if it's no big deal, or B, if you've been accused of being a loud talker. And how do you, Kelly on Facebook says it's usually the booze. And that's funny because I have a dear friend of mine who you can tell when they hit 3 drinks because you can hear them no matter where they go.
Just 3, huh?
Yeah. Voice modulation, immodulation, says Gary. It's a Will Ferrell skit. So yeah. I don't know. The loud talker will get you every time, or at least it'll get me every time. Quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about here? We've got Rodney Davis coming on at 1:40, and I'm going to ask him a little bit about the Director of National Intelligence, Ratcliffe, saying we're only going to give briefings in paper form now, in document form. We're not going to give verbal briefings because that's how everything gets leaked. So we'll talk with Congressman Rodney Davis about that at 1:40, but maybe something else, maybe something a little fun when we come back. Stick around. We'll be back in just a minute.
I woke up this morning, it was already night. I saw a number on the phone that I don't recognize. I know.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Got lots they won't leave me alone. I need a shadow or a hole in the wall. Baby, I don't.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
Air Comfort Service online at aircomfortservice.com. If you are looking to get a new HVAC unit, I want you to reach out to them and see how they can help you. Here's a little fun fact for you from the guys over at Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. People in our area will go without heat, but will not go without air conditioning. We need our AC, folks. I cannot imagine not having a working furnace in the winter, though. Can you? These cold mornings and nights, they're coming. They're on their way. I felt a cool, crisp afternoon, evening this weekend. I hope you got to enjoy that as well. And I thought, yep, it's getting close to fall time. I'm ready for my pumpkin spice latte. How about you? If your furnace or boiler was having trouble last winter, or if you know that your heating system is old and inefficient, you need to call Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling to schedule a free estimate to replace your heating system. Right now, get 0% financing financing for up to 72 months, and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,650 are back. You can experience Air Comfort Services over 50 years of award-winning service. Go to the very best in the business. Give them a call at 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hey friends, it's Annie, and I've been in touch with the team here at Lakeside Renovation and Design. As an essential business, these guys continue to work and ensure their homeowners are being taken care of. They do all of this while practicing safe social distancing and following all of the proper guidelines to keep a safe work environment. Many people are concerned with inviting others into their home at this time, which is why they've begun virtual appointments. If you need new siding, new windows, or even decks, porches, or screened rooms, they can get measurements from the outside and put a bid together just for you while keeping themselves and your family safe. 636-978-5000, lakesideRenovationandDesign.com.
Are you looking for ways to increase the value of your business property? Well, repainting is one of the most cost-effective options. Let the expert team at CertaPro Painters help protect your investment with professional results. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business you can support. Contact them today at CertaPro.com and discuss your project and get a proposal. CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income in just 5 payments? You heard right. In just 5 payments, set up a six-figure retirement cash flow for as long as you live. There's a retirement crisis in America because the pension system of old has been raided and destroyed, and Social Security is already running out of money. Most Americans are shocked to find out they need over $2.5 million to have $100,000 in retirement. A new approach is required to solve this crisis. That's why this revolutionary 5-pay retirement program was released, allowing everyday Americans to use bank money to create a retirement cash flow without relying on Social Security or pensions. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it accelerates the amount they'll have at retirement or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement in just 5 payments, call Wealth Education Group now at 1-800-283-9595 to see if you qualify for this brand new program. Plus, as a free bonus, you'll get the 5-pay retirement guide and video. Call 800-283-9595. 1-800-283-9595. That's 1-800-283-9595.
There's a lot of work to be done in the aftermath of Hurricane Laura. If you're over 18 and you want to help, text Red Cross to 90999. It's an easy way to donate $10 to work being done on the ground in the Gulf Coast. This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
And building the future is what America does, what we've always done. In fact, it's what we have done best and continue to do best. This is the United States of America. There's not a single thing beyond our capacity when we decide to do it together. So let's get together. I want to thank you all. May God bless you, and may God protect our troops.
And scene. He walks off the stage, the vice president, Joe Biden, giving a speech in Pittsburgh, a campaign speech out and about. And he, I don't know, Frank, you have a guesstimate on how long that lasted? 25 minutes or so, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, at least
hour?
it was in that 30-minute range or so.
So
and it was not a press conference situation. It was a campaign speech, like you said. So there were
no questions.
People there to ask questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's nobody there who could ask questions.
Well,
I mean, there's press
I don't
there.
know. Right. I don't know where the press were in relation to the speech itself, because all I could see was Biden on the video monitor.
I'm
so I
pretty
don't
sure
know
there are
if there
people
were
there
questions there possible or set up to ask questions.
It's just bizarre that I don't know, Ryan. What do you think? Is there, if a strategy is working for you, regardless of what the other side? Okay, I'm gonna give an example here.
Okay.
There will be incumbents who are running again to keep their seat in the House or maybe a local seat. And somebody comes up and wants to challenge them, especially like when it's in a primary, and they're like, they won't debate me. Well, why would they debate you? If the polling suggests that they're going to crush you, or if it clearly looks as though they only have ground to lose, then you don't debate. You don't just debate because somebody else demands that you do that. That doesn't make any political sense whatsoever. So if Joe Biden doesn't answer questions from any challenging, pressing questions, look at what Donald Trump does. Like Donald Trump, he marches into the ring every opportunity he gets. He does a press conference. He does a press briefing. Then he goes and gets on a helicopter to go somewhere. He stops and talks to the press there, like until they run out of questions in many circumstances. And there's no question that he's not willing to provide a response to, maybe not a satisfactory answer, but Donald Trump is not afraid of anybody or anything. And Joe Biden hasn't even given himself the chance to have to go off the cuff. And that, of course, is very purposeful. They've made the decision that they are not going to do that right now. And so I ask myself, well, if I were in Joe Biden's camp, would I feel like that's something I have to do? And if I can get away without doing it, why would I go about and do it? Is there a time coming where that pendulum's going to swing into, okay, you've actually got to talk to the press now?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I really think that time is happening now. I think their strategy has been wisely, like you said, to stick to it. Their polling's been pretty good. You know, it seems like they're running ahead of the game. So why change it? Except that I do think and maybe you could point to last week's RNC as the turning point. I don't know if that's exactly what's done it, but something has shifted in the last few days. And you can see that their messaging is shifting, because even Biden, like you said, he was saying that he was going to basically lock up. He wasn't going to go do this in-person campaigning stuff. But now that's changed. And you can see the message has changed to now there's lots of talking heads saying, well, there is violence, because they weren't even acknowledging violence 2 weeks ago. They were saying, no, this is peaceful. And yeah, maybe there's some other stuff going on too. But now they're saying, yes, there is violence and it's Trump's fault. So there's been some changes in the last few days that I think have to be attributed to maybe some shifting of momentum.
I would love to hear people's thoughts on this. And what do we have we've got Chad's coming in at 2:00. I'm excited about that. Producer Chad, he works a lot in the background of a lot of shows. He works with Frank. We're very good friends with Chad here in the back end of 97.1, and we've been bringing him on for the last few weeks. He's a millennial. He is, I would say, disenchanted with the political system as a whole, but he cares. And so he's watching this in a different capacity. You know, like I put up a photo of me on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page after the RNC, and I put a picture of me and it said Trump supporter. And the number one thing that I know that doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. It's not like I came out as a Trump
She's
supporter.
A what?
What? It's just like my ratings just go totally in the tank after that. I did not know.
My kids are friends with her kids. And she's a what?
My kids were friends with her kids.
Yeah, that's over.
So I know that you know what to expect from me here. This by no means is what I do here on a daily basis supposed to be a fair and balanced reporting of news. I try to be fair I try to be objective in the way I come to my perspectives, but it's my perspectives. This is the Annie Frey Show. This is not a news, bulletin where I come and I talk to you about the news of the day and just give you the straight facts and move from news story to news story. You're getting my take on it. Same with Ryan. Ryan's pretty outspoken about how he feels about things, what's most important to him. Chad is in his late 20s. He's a super hard worker, and he's looking at the Democratic Party. And it seems as though, I don't want to put words in his mouth, that it's just a little disenchanting to think Joe Biden's, this is what we got. This is what you're going to put up. And, you know, not a lover of Trump's by any means either. So I don't know if he's up for grabs. I'll ask him that. I'll ask him if he's up for grabs when we come in. But I just feel like the political circus, it is a circus, folks. It's a show. They're selling tickets to a show, and they're cashing in on cable news and, you know, at these rallies and the way that both sides are putting on a show. They want to entertain you. And by entertain, they want to captivate you to make sure that whatever the reality is, you like one reality or one version, one perspective of what's actually taking place in our society over the other. And then you support that in November. I am fully invested in the number one most important thing to me right now is the fact that I'm a mother and I want my kids to be raised in a safe country. I want them to know that we can go downtown St. Louis and we can be safe when we visit downtown St. Louis. We have a St. Louis police officer, Damaris Bohannon, I hope I said that right, as a police officer in St. Louis, shot in the head Saturday responding to a barricade situation. He died from his injuries. He happens to be a black man. I don't know that should make it any different than if he were any other color on the racial spectrum. But, you know, this isn't a story that's going to cause people to demand that we don't put our police officers in these dangerous situations anymore, or eradicate the violence that exists that causes police officers to be shot at every day across this country. We're not going to lose our crap over that. But we are going to ask our police officers to show up on the streets of Washington, D.C., just like we watched last night on the Facebook page, the live raw video of what these police officers are enduring. I think that regardless of the circus that is taking place in front of our eyes and everything that each politician wants to interject, and so that they can color in the lines for us to make sure that we see it the way they want us to see it, do not discount our ability to see what's in front of our eyes, put 2 and 2 together, and yes, still get 4. There's no 1984 nonsense going on here where we're going to look in front of us and see that this unrest is somehow good for our country. Ryan, when you're raising children, you are working hard, your wife works hard. I mean, at some point, it's unbelievable to say, but you've got to look at this election as who's going to advocate for safety before this spreads. I hate to say until it spreads to my hometown. It's not like it only begins to matter when it's in my hometown. Like, you can't go places right now and feel safe.
But that's what affects you. I mean, that's the way everybody's viewing it, is how does this affect me and how does this affect my family? I mean, we're looking at it as I look at it as a hierarchy that the election will affect a lot, because if it is Trump, then I do think that we're going to get law and order back. We're going to get public safety back pretty quickly. Because I think that he will be emboldened to make sure that we do. Maybe because there will be more riots for a little while. I don't know. But I do think it's a hierarchy, because you have to have safety first. And then we get to talk about things like, you know, making sure our constitutional rights aren't eroded by things like draconian coronavirus laws and stuff. But those are all, pardon the word, trumped by public safety. We have to have that first. And to me, if we elect Biden, we really are going to go backwards in terms of making sure that we can deal with the biggest issues. I think if we elect Trump, we're going to deal with the big ones, and then we can start focusing on the small ones as we go.
Well, like I opened the show with, I am hearing everybody trying to everybody wants to super glue fault to a political party, of course, that is led by Biden or Trump. Both sides are doing it because this is politics. And I think that, like, when you're talking about some other things that aren't as scary as the civil unrest, that this week became deadly. I don't care if the person who was shot in the was it Kenosha, the 3 people who were shot. I don't care who they were supporting for president. I know that might sound weird that we have to say that out loud, but regardless of what political party they were affiliated with, it's a life. The Portland shooting this weekend, it doesn't become more important to me that in Portland a Trump supporter was shot. That doesn't become more valuable to me, because if it does, what have we become? That somehow or another, the death of somebody at a protest or a riot is now useful to me because that person supported somebody in politics. If that's where we have arrived, we're done. Yeah. Society, humanity, we are toast. It's not whose fault it is. It's who do we trust to take responsibility for this and act upon it. Right now, I only see one person who is really, really trying to do that.
I'm glad you said that, because I saw the same things over the weekend. You know, these videos pop up, this news pops up on Twitter or wherever you're looking at it. And I hate the fact that I do it too, that my first reaction is, well, how does this fit into a narrative? And I really checked myself this weekend, I think based on some things that you had said, Annie, that we all do that. We do that naturally.
Yeah.
And trying to break out of this and look at it from a human being standpoint first and foremost, and then looking at how it plays into everything else that's happening in the United States right now.
And I'm watching both. I mean, the political game is what the political game is.
Sure.
We are not going to, I'm not going to look at Donald Trump and be like, don't you say that this is Joe Biden's America. You need to be better than that, because we are so past that. To use a Tim Jones word, that's Pollyannish. We are not going to be able to somehow, take the high road. Donald Trump certainly isn't going to take the high road. In fact, I'll say it right here, whether anybody likes it or not, the only reason Donald Trump was able to win in 2016, and I think he will win in 2020, is because he is willing to not fight on the high road. He's willing to not say, well, I'm not going to go there. He's willing to take it to where the fight is and fight hard. There's so much at stake right now that Donald Trump, who was it Gabe last week? He's like, he's the hero we deserve. It's kind of, we are there, folks. That is a Batman line, Dark Knight line. And it's sadly accurate. Politics is messy. And in order to affect change, you do have to win. And there are no heroes among thieves anymore. And I think maybe the pendulum is swung far enough to the side of depravity that there's nowhere to go but the other way. But I don't know. Somebody we can ask that to is Congressman Rodney Davis. He's going to join us when we come back. And I'm going to ask him about that. What's at stake in this November election? What does he think about Nancy Pelosi saying that the congressional DC Republicans are the enemy of the state? And what does he think about the RNC this past week? Did he feel motivated? Did they strike the right tone? Congressman Rodney Davis will join us in just a minute. Thank you for joining us on radio.com, on our Facebook Live, the Annie Frey Show Facebook Live, and the Annie Frey YouTube Live. We'll be back in just a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Missouri lawmakers did well in 2018 by passing a series of labor reforms for government employees. Many of them, including teachers, now get to vote every 3 years on whether to keep the union they're in. And those employees now have so-called paycheck protection, giving them more say in whether a union can take money from their paychecks for union activities. But more needs to be done. The law excludes firefighters, police, and other first responders. And it still doesn't really allow for open collective bargaining for those it covers. The public should be able to attend meetings where governments are negotiating collective bargaining agreements so they can ensure their tax dollars are being spent wisely. Government union reform is off to a good start, but it's time to provide these rights to all our government employees, not just some of them. Check out our 2020 blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
It's one thing to be stuck in your house due to COVID-19. It's another thing to be stuck with a house. We have good news for homeowners listening throughout St. Louis. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is still buying houses. More importantly, we offer sellers a completely virtual selling process that maintains social distancing standards. Sell your home now. Call Chris today and get a cash offer in just 7 minutes. Call 314-782-7000. Can't collect rent? Not a problem. We buy My Tenant Won't Pay Me the Rent houses as well as vacant houses. We buy houses as is and deal with any situation. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call Chris today and get your house sold. 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. 314-782-7000.
Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group. The website is retirementkey.com. You have heard us talking about him here on the Annie Frey Show for years, on 97.1 for even longer than that, because Thomas Helbig loves him some 97.1 listeners. You guys have your act together, and he knows it, and he wants to help you. When you've been busting your tail to save for retirement, when you've been working hard to put away the pennies and sacrificing in your younger years so that you could enjoy retirement when it finally got here, he wants to make sure that you're set up perfectly to enjoy that moment. That's why he is offering you a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You can reach out to Thomas Helbig and get an appointment scheduled. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you call and get that free retirement review. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494 is the number to call. When you reach out to him, he'll set you up with an appointment. You'll get a free copy of his best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. Visit him online at retirementkey.com.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Dave Glover Show.
Sue walked in and saw me wearing the lovely shirt she bought for me from Barcelona. Wow, that shirt looks so great on you. I'm like, thanks, I love it. And Rachel goes, it's all stained up.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Across any political divides that I need to cross in order to bring us back together. Somebody's got to do it. I'm committed to it. I know my colleagues on the Portland City are committed to it. I'd like to hear the President of the United States say he's all in. Let's bring this great nation back together.
So that's Mayor Ted Wheeler saying he's ready to reach across any aisles, any political divides to bring us back together. He's the Portland mayor. And I also recall the president offering some help and him saying, yeah, no thanks. Peace out, dude. We don't want any of your help here. So it seems like it's not all political divides. It seems like they're drawn when the president is involved. Really excited to get our next guest on here, Congressman Rodney Davis. If you don't know, he is a huge Nickelback fan, and we oblige each and every time he is willing to come on the show with us, representing Illinois' 13th district. He is also my congressman. Rodney Davis, thank you so much for coming on with us today. We appreciate it. You there?
He was.
Chad Kroger's there. That's pretty
Chad
all
maybe it was the wrong Nickelback sign.
Yeah, he left.
This isn't the one I had in my writer.
These are brown M&Ms.
I said I was a rock star, and I wanted rock star, and they play Photograph. You've got to be kidding me.
It's Congressman Rodney Davis. He's with us now.
Yeah, hi. Sorry.
Hey.
Just filling time.
You know what? It was terrible. I agree. I hung up on purpose because you denied the right bumper music. I didn't have my blue and green M&Ms. I mean, this is terrible. I feel like Mayor Wheeler in Portland. You know, I can say or do anything, and the people, and he thinks everybody's going to believe it.
You know, what is
crazy?
How stupid do the American people need to be to believe that that Ted Wheeler is trying to do everything he can and saying he's willing to reach across any political divide? I mean, Congressman, you work in Washington, D.C. Nancy Pelosi is the queen of saying ridiculous things, and we're just you're just supposed to take it as gospel. What are how stupid do you need the American people to believe this nonsense?
Well, we know the American people aren't stupid. We know the American people can see through this, Annie. This is complete gaslighting, because it wasn't too long ago these same Democrats, including Mayor Wheeler, were kowtowing to these rioters, these looters, who have sustained 94 days, over 3 months worth of rioting in one of our American cities, and complained when the federal government tried protecting federal property. President Trump has tried to offer assistance, and Mayor Wheeler and the Democrats have turned it down. The only reason Mayor Wheeler and Nancy Pelosi, who called us Republicans enemies of the state just recently, and also Joe Biden and the mainstream media, the only reason they're trying to now blame the riots on President Trump is because their polling numbers have tanked. The American people want security, and they're not getting that from Democrat mayors.
Congressman Rodney Davis, I wanted to ask you about Illinois. I know you're running for federal office, but you're running in Illinois. Is the Mike Madigan corruption issues, the fact that he's ripping off Illinois for 35 years, is that crossing into the voters' consciousness as you see it in your district, and is that going to affect your race?
Absolutely, it is. Mike Madigan is the least popular politician in the state of Illinois. It's always funny when you get questions from the national media or even media in the state about President Trump. Oh, he can't be popular in a district. And I usually answer in one way. President Trump is a lot more popular in my district than Mike Madigan is. Yeah. Mike Madigan is not only the Speaker of the House in Illinois since 1983, except for 2 years. I mean, I was 13 at the time. I'm 50 now. He's also so narcissistic. He's the chairman of the Illinois Democratic Party. He controls everything, which is why the Democrats have spent this state into the ground with their corruption.
We're speaking with U.S. Congressman Rodney Davis. We only have a few minutes left here, but I wanted to ask you about Adam Schiff's frustration with Ratcliffe, the director of national intelligence, saying he's going to give these briefings in document form, not in verbal form, to stop leaks. I feel like the House of Representatives has become a circus, it's a show. And when Adam Schiff speaks, I assume that it's 100% to politically benefit him, and the American people are very far left behind. What do you make of this announcement from Ratcliffe and Adam Schiff's reaction to it?
I agree with your comments, Annie. I can tell you from personally knowing and serving with John Ratcliffe in the House, you will not get a more honorable person. John Ratcliffe is simply doing what has been done for 40 years with our intelligence committees. They had gone above and beyond to give personal briefings, and those personal briefings have been leaked to the press selectively, just like Adam Schiff did with the Mueller report, just like Adam Schiff did with the Russia hoax investigation. Remember, a lot of what Adam Schiff and his team leaked turned out not to be true. Those are the things that we've got to have people in government jobs like ODNI, like John Ratcliffe is, who are willing to stand up to the politicians and say enough's enough. We're not going to play your game anymore. That's exactly what John's doing. I'm glad he's doing it, and I certainly hope he just continues to tell the truth.
Congressman Davis, before we let you go, only got a couple minutes here left. Do you think that the RNC painted a good picture last week of who the Republican Party is and who it's willing to welcome?
Definitely, I do. I was with President Trump when he accepted the nomination Thursday night, but I thought we put up a tremendous group of diverse people to talk about what it means to be a Republican, to talk about what it means to support the president. Look, that Republican convention was so well produced, and it brought out the things and successes that we've been able to do in Washington that people forget and no one covers. Criminal justice reform. That didn't happen under Barack Obama. It happened under Donald Trump. And Alice Johnson being able to tell her story, hearing so many different folks come to the podium, it really made me excited to be a Republican, even more than I was before.
I completely agree with that. Well, Congressman, we're going to continue to touch base with you as we march towards November, and any way that we can connect with you to get the inside track, we always appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Yep, we'll talk to you again soon. Congressman Rodney Davis of Illinois' 13th District. He said something there that I fully personally co-sign, which is it made him proud to be a Republican. I thought that the case that was made last week made me feel, because I think that we have been made, as Republicans or conservatives, we've been made to be ashamed of it, because you were told that you are something if you are Republican. I'm going to play a clip for you when we come back, probably at 2:25, or maybe I'll play it with Chad when Chad comes in with us, because it's the mayor, Ted Wheeler. We'll walk through it. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, he completely and totally blames Donald Trump for what's going on in Portland. And I just got to say, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It's mind-blowing. Chad's coming in soon. Ryan, I always enjoy these conversations with Chad. I mean, it's a fun kind of change to have somebody in here who's looking at it from a completely different perspective. And like I said, I think he's non-committed to a person yet, but he's very invested in the outcome.
Yeah, he's saying, convince me. So
yeah,
it's interesting perspective.
Chad Ellis joins us when we come back in studio, and we will include your conversation as well. So you got to join us on our Facebook Live, the Annie Frey Show Facebook Live. You can put your questions and comments in there. Also, go on to YouTube, type in Annie Frey, F-R-E-Y on YouTube. You can watch us on your smart TV. So you can watch us while you're doing laundry or eating lunch or whatever it might be. Chad's going to join us in studio here in just a minute. Don't go away. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, Chris here to talk about CertaPro Painters. Are you still putting off that painting project? Well, I was too, until I reached out to CertaPro Painters, and I can tell you the whole process was worry-free from the initial meeting to the final cleanup. CertaPro Painters brought a level of professionalism and efficiency that is unrivaled. Plus, they treated my property like it was their own. And get this, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. That's right, they're a local business you can support. Schedule your free estimate online today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Mortgage interest rates are in the twos, and we are saving folks hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month with an easy refinance. If you're thinking about a refinance, we can drop your rate, get you some cash out, skip 2 months of payments, and close in 30 days. And if you're buying a home, let your realtor know that you can close in 30 days or less at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
An election about safety. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Both sides are now making that argument over violence in U.S. cities.
This president long ago forfeited any moral leadership in this country. He can't stop the violence because for years he's fomented it.
Democratic nominee Joe Biden speaking in Pittsburgh as he begins to ease his coronavirus restrictions on campaign travel and condemning violence on either side after a Trump supporter was killed over the weekend during protests in Portland, Oregon.
Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. Setting fires is not protesting.
The Trump campaign says Biden is only speaking out now because of slippage in the polls after ignoring the issue of riots during the Democratic National Convention. The White House blames violence on calls to defund police and failed leadership in certain cities. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany says despite requests to stay away,
President Trump will visit Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow. This president will show up. He will go to cities where Americans are hurting.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers in a letter questioned whether the president's stop will help Kenosha's healing. McEnany also referred to Portland, Oregon Mayor Ted Wheeler's refusing federal law enforcement help to stop violence that she said was conveyed
in an irrational and tone-deaf letter.
President Trump has continued to criticize what he calls Democrat-run cities that he says have seen protests infiltrated by anarchists. Lisa?
Gernal, the White House also confirming outreach to the family of Jacob Blake, who remains hospitalized after a police shooting in Kenosha, but at this point, no plans for a meeting with the family. The number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. now tops 6 million, with over 183,000 deaths worldwide, over 25 million cases. In Washington, talks on another relief bill remain stalled. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special end-of-summer announcement from Dell. At our Labor Day sale, small businesses can save up to 50% on select business computers with Intel Core processors. We're committed to taking your business to the next level. Give our small business technology advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business with Labor Day savings. Visit Dell.com/business deals or call us at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
So who is your wireless provider? AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile? The average person is saving $400 a year by switching to Pure Talk USA. Pure Talk is on the same network, same towers, just 50% off in terms of price. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data for just $20 a month. Switch to Pure Talk today. Now, from your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Pure Radio. That's pound 250, Pure Radio, Pure Talk USA. Simply smarter wireless.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Let's call it a mix of clouds and sunshine the rest of the afternoon. 85 will do it for the high. Tonight, clouds really take control. Humidity continues to build. 70 for the overnight low. Tuesday, periods of rain and thunderstorms and quite humid. I think the best chance for rain and storms will be in the afternoon on Tuesday. 82 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday, scattered rain and thunderstorms at 85. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's right for you. And check out the podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's digital editor, Megan Crane.
Red Brick Roofing, wherever you live, from Berkeley to Belleville to Richmond Heights and Melville, Glendale to Shrewsbury, the Central West End. Sunset Hills to Sula, the one you know. Frederick Roofing, wherever you go. For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000. Aren't you tired of hearing ads that say they're the best, they're the expert, blah, 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 just one unsubstantiated claim after another? Well, here are two substantiated claims that actually mean something if you need roof repair or a new roof. With a family-owned business tradition of over 80 years and 80,000 satisfied customers, you can depend on Frederick Roofing, residential or commercial.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Window World. So Window World is a national company, but locally owned and operated here in St. Louis. Couple of North County boys, good people, good guys, just looking to do an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. So we only really have one big competitor. These are the guys that sell the $3,000 windows, negotiate them down to $2,000. You feel like a champ, but ours are still a fraction of that. For $2,000 even, you could do a whole house full of windows with Window World. We're one of only 2 window companies in the country that have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Home Advisor. Everyone loves Window World. So check them out at windowworld.com or call 314-993-1800. Make sure you mention me for special financing offers. They have a lifetime warranty, a lifetime guarantee. Once you pay for that window, you'll never spend another dime on it. That's windowworld.com.
You may wonder, what does a home warranty even get me? Is that something that's worth my time? And that's a great question, because for a long time, I wasn't sure what a home warranty was either. But then I got together with my friends at Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, and I have learned that through Upkeep, your appliances are all covered, your plumbing and electrical systems are covered, your heating, your AC. So these are huge issues when it comes to your home. Inevitably, you're going to run into a problem at some point, and that's going to be really expensive to fix unless you are covered under that home warranty. And the best part about Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance is they are never going to deny your claim due to lack of maintenance, because their technicians are out at your home 4 times a year, maintaining your equipment and making sure that you are good to go. Upkeep is offering $100 off to DGS listeners. Just use code DGS. Check out their website, upkeepstl.com.
97.1 FM Talk, keeping you plugged in while wireless. Download the radio.com app for your phone or listen by smart speaker. Hey Alexa, hey Siri, play 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being with us here on a Monday. We are happy to get the week started along with you, and we are grateful that you're here. Each Monday at 2 o'clock, we've been having our producer Chad, come in and sit with us for a couple of segments and kind of just discuss the whole 2020 scene, which I guess you really need to be more specific. The 2020 scene is a dumpster fire, mostly politics. Chad, thanks for coming back with us. We always appreciate you coming in.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a great honor to be here.
Well, you've worked on our show many times in the background. You've popped on a couple of times before, but people love you and we love you, and we're glad to have you back. I said earlier in the show that I think the word I used was uncommitted to a specific candidate, that maybe you were a free agent at this time. I said, but I wasn't 100% sure about that. politically speaking, November is approaching. Has anybody won your vote yet?
Let's see what happens. I honestly don't believe. I seen a yard sign that said "forget them both." It said something more vulgar, but I can't say that. It said "forget them both," and it was pretty. It was pretty
like that
hilarious.
CeeLo Green song. It's "Forget You," but it's really not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, I mean, I kind of got an idea, just from the research I've done, on all parties at hand. So I'm probably gonna.
You're working on it.
Yeah,
But
I'm probably gonna stick with the pick I picked last year. The last time, not last year.
So I want to ask you, just your perspective on just an open-ended question, because we've talked a little bit about Portland last night. I shared on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page a live stream from some of the riots and protests taking place late at night in Washington, D.C. I have tried to specifically on this show make the distinction between the protests that we see, and then the later it gets, the more they turn into basically violent riots. People have lost their lives now in the midst of this, and if it doesn't get under control, I assume that will happen again. And I'm going to play for you the Portland mayor, Ted Wheeler, as he he blamed Donald Trump for all of it. I think there's a political show that's going on here. And I think we're starting to be very keen on that, where we see what you're trying to do. You're using something that's terrible and you're trying to use it for your own political gain. That makes me throw up in my mouth. But I was curious, just from your perspective, as a Black male working very hard, millennial, somebody who is paying attention to this election to see what people are saying. When you see the stuff going on in Portland and you see what's been going on in Kenosha, and you see what's gone on all over the country, what's your reaction to all of it?
My initial reaction is kind of numb, almost, to a point, because it's like this is a normal, and it's unfortunate. But the back of my mind, where I realize that this stuff is not normal, it has me a little nervous. Just on the strength of being in this world of chaos, and not really coming together as one, like kind of what our founding fathers of this country had in mind. We kind of creating a more of a divide and a more division as we go along.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, there's so much nuance in what is taking place right now. The messages that people are trying to send, that the nuance gets very lost in the chaos, as you said, where if the predominant visual, even on CNN, I don't know if you saw that report, where it was like fiery but mostly peaceful protest occurring in Kenosha, and you've got this reporter with like the entire background is engulfed in fire, and he's like, well, there's this fire here, but other than that, we're mostly peaceful. I mean, Americans see what's going on, and for me, the first thing I react as is a mother. Or is it safe for me to be raising my kids here? Whatever message initially was a part of these protests quickly gets lost when they become dangerous for people to coexist with said protests. And I think that's unfortunate. And my plea has been for the people who are putting these protests together to be on the front lines of saying these violent riots and looting and all that stuff. We get asked, people are asking Joe Biden to step out. I don't care what Joe Biden says about this, because whatever Joe Biden says about this is for his to buy a vote. I want the people who have a message that they're trying to get across, that they want Americans to understand. I want them to say this violence is bad so that I can hear their message. Do you have a reaction to like where you draw the line between protesting and rioting?
Yes. Quite honestly, when it becomes kind of chaotic and at nighttime, because I protest before, and of course the protesting of our ancestors are pretty much gone these days and age because of the violence that we see on TV. This kind of how people are just reacting. It's just like, okay, I'm doing what I see, instead of having a conscious mind and actually thinking before they actually make these decisions that could potentially affect their future. It might not affect you now, but eventually, if you continue to destroy, there's going to be nothing left.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm just getting very sick and tired of people. I've talked multiple times in this show specifically about who's at fault here, and it's both sides. This is Joe Biden's America. No, President Trump is the president right now. This is actually obviously Donald Trump's America. I think both of those are shallow plays at trying to acquire votes, and I want people to stop asking whose fault it is. And I think that spending time looking to blame a politician for and forcing them to, like I said, super glue the fault to one politician or the other is such a waste of time and such a shirking of responsibility. My question is not whose fault it is as far as politicians go, but who's willing to take the responsibility to make it safe again.
Absolutely.
Who's willing to step up? So let's listen here to Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. And we know that Donald Trump has said on a bunch of fronts, like, I'd like to send federal help to restore order here. He did it to Wisconsin. They said no. He did it to Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot was like, over my dead body. He did it to Portland, and the mayor there said no. Listen to this. This is just this weekend, this reaction.
And racial justice can look like in our community, and we'll continue to do that work in the weeks and the months ahead. There's so much work to do, and I'll be intentionally engaging the public as we proceed to engage in that hard work together. Yesterday's events began with hundreds of cars filled with supporters of the president rallying in Clackamas County and then driving through downtown Portland. They were supported and energized by the president himself. President Trump, for 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on Black people. We learned early about your sexist attitudes towards women. We've had to endure clips of you mocking a disabled man. We've had to listen to your anti-democratic attacks on journalists. We've read your tweets slamming private citizens to the point of receiving death threats. And we've listened to your attacks on immigrants. We've listened to you label Mexicans rapists. We've heard you say that John McCain wasn't a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And now you're attacking Democratic mayors and the very institutions of democracy that have served this nation well since its founding.
So before I go on here, if you were playing Trump derangement syndrome bingo at home, you can now check off racist, sexist, ableist, attacks on media, tweets, immigrants, Mexicans are rapists, and the John McCain smear. He like did his homework on the 2016 campaign. Check.
Bingo.
And somehow or another, this is all keying in on what's taking place in Portland now.
Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and the division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of Black people killed by police officers, even as people in law enforcement have. And it's you who claimed that white supremacists are good people.
Oh my gosh. Bingo. There you got it. That is a cover all in the game of TDS bingo. We've played it 100 times. The Charlottesville comments that President Trump made did not say that white supremacists were good people. We can discuss the president's actions and his policies and whether or not they're racist, but that is a blatant lie. And if you are relying on that talking point, Mayor Wheeler, I know you got nothing because it's a freaking lie. For you to come out and say that he said that white supremacists are good people means you have a hollow argument. You've got nothing else, and you are relying on the ignorance and stupidity of people to not do their own homework. It makes me crazy. Somehow or another, Mayor Wheeler gets off on this whole tangent here and blames everything that's like he's the mayor of Portland. So we've got people saying this is Trump's America. President Trump is the president right now. Clearly, this is his fault. Well, this is Mayor Wheeler's Portland. Does that not mean anything to anybody? And go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I don't get the argument because I've heard that clip a couple times now today. And I don't think that's the end. I think this is a new talking point that we're going to hear a lot. And so I don't mean to take this from you, Chad, but it's driving me crazy that you could make the argument that I don't like you, so I'm going to riot, and then it's your fault that I rioted. That's the logic that's trying to be attributed here.
Well, that's not even done yet.
Your campaign of fear is as anti-democratic as anything you've done to create hate and vitriol in our beautiful country. You've tried to divide us more than any other figure in modern history. And now you want me to stop the violence that you helped create. What America needs is for you to be stopped so that we can come back together as one America while recognizing that we must demand that all people, black, brown, white, every color, from every political persuasion, pull together and hold all people accountable in stopping racism and violence. And we together are peaceful again under new leadership that reflects who we really are. We the people.
So there you have it. That's a 3-minute statement from Mayor Wheeler.
It's kind of laughable that.
Thank you.
You laugh so you don't cry.
Like, it doesn't really make sense to me that you can say that one person is responsible for X, Y, and Z when this is a continuous thing that has happened on multiple occasions throughout history of America, and not just. And this is the reason you can go back 10 years and Trump hasn't been president for 10 years.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
We continue to have police brutality and all this good stuff as a plight to induce fear inside of America, as well as all we see. So it's like, okay, I see it here, I see it there, I see it everywhere. Let's normalize it, or let's fear it and stay in the house.
Well, you said from the very beginning here, you're growing numb. And that is, I think, the way that Americans are, it's like you when you're scrolling through Facebook and you see a riot. Literally last night I was looking at this. My husband's questioning me. He goes, "Where is that?"
Right.
And that is a real question that we need to be asking ourselves.
Everywhere.
Why do we have to ask that question?
It's
how
everywhere.
many? If you're, when Ferguson was burning itself to the ground, and you saw riots, you knew it was in Ferguson. People know what Ferguson is now. They didn't nationally know where Ferguson was before, which is tragedy because Ferguson is a very nice neighborhood that was up and coming and developing and really on its way up. And now Ferguson is synonymous with, Ferguson. It's a one-word nomenclature that people will hear and understand it to be a certain thing. Now you see a riot in your Facebook feed, you have a multiple choice. Where was that? Where's this right at?
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. More with Chad when we come back. Thank you for joining us on our Facebook Live, facebook.com/Annie Frey Show. You can be a part of the conversation in the chat there. Also, the Annie Frey YouTube page. You can project us up onto your smart TV if you want to watch the show. We'd love to have you keep you company, and you can keep us company as well there. We're going to discuss a little bit more about this, the riots, the election, all that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
When I get so throwing it on you, you got to come back for more. Boy, them things will come by the dozen. That ain't nothing but drugstore love. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle, cause the mama, I'm sure all the hand and I just around.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's licensed therapist Dr. Christine Moutier on issues with substance abuse.
It's well known in the suicide research arena that substance use, when addiction or even just use of substances are escalating, and when there is also a mental health condition present besides the addiction. So, for example, if somebody has a clinical depression or other general medical conditions as well, not just the mental health conditions, when you mix substances into the picture, or there's an increase in substance use or new substances being added into the mixture, that is absolutely a known kind of one of the warning signs, actually, that that person's risk may be increasing.
Talk has the power to save lives, and you are not alone. Find out more at imlistening.org and tune in for the I'm Listening special right here on September 23rd.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Curtis and the whole staff at Complete Auto Body and Repair want to thank everyone for using them for their services. They are the leaders in the industry and always strive to be the best, so they now offer no-contact touchless auto repair. That means when you drop your keys off, they will sanitize your keys and fob. Technicians will sanitize before and after service. In addition, all repair authorizations will be done digitally after service. Your safety is the utmost importance to them as they sanitize their shops several times a day. They will even give you complimentary pickup and delivery via their towing partner, A2B Towing, and $150 off all hail repairs. To put it simply, they offer the complete experience. There are a wide variety of companies that can take care of your car and claim to go the extra mile, but how many of them follow through after you hand them your keys? This is where they show you Complete's mission. They are a family and will serve you as if you were one of their own. With 5 convenient locations, others can't compete with Complete. CompleteAB.com.
Get big savings on big names right now at Ambassador Floor and Midwest Floor. I'm Brian McGee. Shop now and save up to 30% off all Shaw floors, including hardwood, carpet, even Tough Tex. Save 30% off the largest selection of Cortec, the originator of luxury vinyl plank. Plus, we employ over 100 master craftsmen, so your new floors are installed right now. Don't miss 30% off Shaw floors at any of our 4 locations. Experience more in Ambassador Floor and Midwest Floor.
With spending more time at home, you may be noticing the scuffs and faded colors on your walls, or the cracked, peeling paint on the outside of your home. Let the pros at CertaPro Painters take care of that project you've been putting off. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're a local business you can support. Schedule your free remote or on-site estimate today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
You can't fight the temptation when you get the vibration. Won't do you no good. It won't do you no good.
Would be badly damaged or could in fact slip away. And I wonder how many voters truly agree with that. And I wonder if that's a healthy thing for our republic. Overall, I would imagine probably not. But that is exactly the argument being advanced. It's not by one side, it is by both sides. And it's going to be polarized and intense down the stretch.
Man, I wonder what could happen to this country to cause us to not be so polarized. Maybe it's not going to happen in this generation. Maybe I'm not going to live to see it. I would like to do something to contribute to a place where we can get along better and coexist better and still have our varying viewpoints. I would like to contribute to something that causes my kids to see that day, but I don't know how to do that necessarily. Chad, when you're watching, producer Chad's in with us here every Monday at the 2:00 hour to just talk about things from a different perspective, and we're grateful that he comes in here and gives us some of his time. Does the polarization turn you off? Like, how do you react to, like Guy Benson says there, like we talk about everything in apocalyptic terms?
Well, I don't want to look at anything as an absolute when I know that, just like you said, things that can be done, or like things like this, things giving me a platform to speak as a Black millennial on your show. That's exactly how you do it. You do things that show people that you be the tide. You don't allow yourself to just kind of get wrapped up in the rhetoric of TV and what's going on TV. You kind of implement the life that you know has to be implemented so that we can have a great America. Like, I know the slogan "Make America Great Again" has been tainted, but there is a way to actually make America great.
Yeah.
Chad, I've seen you post some things on Facebook before, and you're a very independent-minded guy. I think that's one of the reasons we're having you on to talk to you, is just to sort of pick your brain a little bit. But one of the things that really stuck out to me is that you've posted several times about, I'm going to say this and I'm not going to worry about losing friends and things like that. Is that a reality for you? Is that just being an independent-minded guy is costing you relationships?
Absolutely. It doesn't really cost me relationships that actually matter to me. Because it's like, okay, if I don't have freedom of speech, I don't have freedom of thought, am I really free? So that's my train of thought of it. I don't care if you're my mom, brother, sister, friend. I'm going to take politics serious enough to know what I'm voting for, how I'm voting, and not be swayed because someone told me to vote a certain way.
What are the issues that you feel compelled enough to, go be public with them? What are those issues that tend to bring ire back just for your voicing of them?
The issues that I kind of find that I pay attention to the most is, the issues that we've seen before, in the fact of the dismantling of families, the putting people away for X amount of years. This stuff scares me because I know that people make mistakes, and I kind of feel like I'm a person that believes in God, so God is all forgiving. So why aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Chad, criminal justice reform, you kind of mentioned that. Has that been something that either this president has gotten enough attention for, or has he gotten too much attention for it because they're trying to, make it bigger than
Honestly,
it is?
I don't believe he has any attention for it because, quite honestly, all the people that he's actually reformed and set free, they kind of get brushed under the rug. And the people that are actually putting these people in jail and making laws, Crime Bill 94, to put people in jail, are running for president and telling you that they have your best interests at heart, and they don't.
You're citing Crime Bill 94. What does that mean to you?
This is just like, I looked into it, and it's like, okay, Biden signed it, and it's a lot of things in there that I don't agree with. I definitely suggest you guys go into, if you are on the fence and things like that kind of make you sway a different way, you probably want to look into the works that these two candidates have actually done.
Kamala Harris's appointment was little befuddling because of her history as a prosecutor in the state of California. And with the unrest that is taking place across the country, that seems to be, if you boil it down and you don't want to dig into it, which is the lazy thing to do, which means that's what most people are probably doing, is that it's Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. And that you can't be an individual who both loves your Black neighbors, brothers and sisters, and your police officers, who I've noticed are sometimes Black. So, I mean, even
Very
in that
perceptive.
regard, I know.
I've noticed that too.
It's like, how can you be a Black police officer if we can't, as a country, be dynamic enough to understand that maybe there are two different American experiences that exist for white people and Black people, but that there also can be good cops and bad cops, and we need to figure out how to be grown-ups and address all of these things at the same time. When you boil it down to what the media wants you to believe, and I think the media wants you to believe that because they often have a political agenda, which is crap. That's, the media is supposed to be our advocate. You know whose side they're supposed to be on? Yours. And your side is the American side. It's not the political side. If 80% of the people listening right now lean Trump or have leaned all the way to fall face first for Trump, that's okay. But the 20% who don't lean Trump, the media is supposed to be on our side. They're supposed to be the ones looking, hunting, sniffing out truth in every nook and cranny so that the government doesn't take advantage of us. That's their job. That's the motive that they're supposed to wake up with, is where is the truth? How can I find it? And how can I uncover it and give it to the American people so that they can make an educated decision on themselves? We do not have that media right now. We have a media that is invested in ratings and in many cases political agenda. It's just the way of the world right now. When you are looking for facts and information yourself, it's very difficult to find. Chad, for people who are, you said you encourage people to look for themselves. I think that's a fantastic idea. And when people are you talking to anybody who might have leaned Biden or been all in for Biden, and then Kamala Harris gets named the VP, and then they're looking into, the Democrats are supposed to be the pro BLM group. Yeah. I mean, just simplified, Black Lives Matter Democrat, Blue Lives Matter Republican. That's as simple and stupidly ignorant as you can possibly get. Yeah. But then if you look at the history of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which you obviously have done, it's kind of conflicting.
Absolutely. I definitely had some people that were on the fence with Biden already. So it was just like, I don't trust him. He kind of already didn't have Obama backing him at first. What changed? It's in a lot of rhetoric of trust and basically disloyalty that kind of spewed from his mouth. Mm-hmm. And when Kamala Harris.
So that's Tucker Carlson.
I'm sorry.
Careful, Tucker.
Kamala.
Picture a Kamala.
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 All right. When she was put on a ticket, it was just like, it wasn't a push forward. It was just like a stalemate. Yeah, it was safe enough to get some people to actually not vote for Biden. That's what I feel.
Chad, as you're looking at both of the parties, and I don't know if you watched any of the conventions the last couple weeks, but you're somebody who they're trying to convince as an independent-minded guy. What did the Democrats say in their convention that you thought, well, that actually does have some substance to it, if anything? Hey, if it's nothing, that's okay. I'm just asking the question. Yeah.
Criminal reform. When it's took out of defund the police, that makes a lot of sense to me. But everything else is kind of like all they're doing is pointing fingers, so they're not really making any points. Yeah. It's just the fact that Trump is bad and we need to get him out of office, and they don't really have that much to stand on when they say they want to get him out of office. Besides his tweets and
he hurts their feelings.
Yeah. Emotional America. That's what we're dealing with.
Did you watch any of the RNC?
I seen some clips. I watched one or two different I'm sorry, one or two speeches.
Yeah.
Did you see Jack Brewer's speech?
I didn't.
Okay, I'm going to play this little clip from you, but I'm going to redirect people to listen to the whole thing.
Are you going to allow the media to lie to you by falsely claiming that he said there were very fine white supremacists in Charlottesville? He didn't say that. It's a lie.
There's this expected and uncontested understanding that Donald Trump is inherently a racist person. And there are probably 3 or 4 different things that anybody who wants to make the case that Donald Trump is a racist cites. And some of it has to do with some housing practices he had in the 70s. But the Charlottesville one is the number one thing. That Donald Trump said that there are good white supremacists. If Donald Trump said that, he would have been done a long time ago. But he didn't say that. I'm curious your reaction to the idea that Donald Trump is inherently a racist individual. If somebody who is not a Trump supporter necessarily yourself, is that something that you believe as a black man when you hear and see Donald Trump speak? Do you think he's coming from a racist place?
No, honestly, I don't. That could be surprising to a lot of people. I don't see him as a racist. Just on the strength of he has black people in his circle, as well as black people weren't against Donald Trump until he became president. Or it wasn't that Donald Trump was racist until he became president. So it's like, okay, so just because I'm a Republican president and I told you guys I'm running Republican because they believe everything that's on Fox, and that's my greatest chance to win. And he proved that he's somehow a different person. Because he's literally the same person, the same type of tweets, the same type of crazy rhetoric.
You can go see his Dave Letterman interviews and his other nighttime interviews where he's asked these questions. And at the time he was a Democrat, but his answers are still very consistent with his mentality right now. Yeah.
So it's like, what is a Democrat and what is a Republican at this point?
You have to ask yourself that. And I again, Chad, we're so grateful for you to come on here and talk to us from your perspective, because if people want to get their daily dose of what makes you feel Republican that day or makes you feel Democrat that day, which is basically your daily dose of Trump praise or Trump hate, whichever you need to get through the day, there are so many places that you can get that right now. We want to offer something different, which is a different perspective, a different analysis, and also to suggest that you could not like Donald Trump and also not think he's a racist. You could say, I don't like Donald Trump's policies, but he's not a racist. Like, you can see that with your own 2 eyes. Or, there are people who are going to think that Joe Biden is the next best thing for the country. But I'd like to hear, why is that? Is it only because he's not Donald Trump? And is that, I'm not Donald Trump. Chad's not Donald Trump. Ryan's not Donald Trump. Is that all you need? That and to be 35? And Ryan's 48, so you're way past. You're very experienced, Ryan.
I do not like this running joke.
Sorry.
49, excuse me.
So,
well, Chad,
thank you.
We're grateful that you have come in here with us, and we'll continue to have you in here anytime you are willing to join the conversation.
All right, definitely. I appreciate it. And if anybody wants to follow me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter, I definitely recommend it. You'll get the same truth. I don't change up my script because I'm on radio or anything like that. It's the same. It's the same all the way around.
Awesome. Well, Chad, come on the Facebook Live here after you sign off with us and comment, and then people will know where to connect with you and get more of your insight. We appreciate you, Chad. We'll talk to you again next week. See you next time. Quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up before we hand it over to the Dave Glover show. We'll put a bow on it. Ryan, you got anything exciting to talk about?
Yeah.
Do you?
I got like 10 things.
You do?
Maybe.
You want to tease anything?
No, I don't.
You don't want to make me listen?
No. You'll listen regardless because it's your show and you have to make sure I don't say something crazy.
What a tease. That should do it. We'll be back in just a minute with something that Ryan thinks is interesting. Don't go anywhere.
When you get the vibration, won't do you no good. It won't do you no good. And you better start rolling when you hear the man calling. won't do you no good.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Now let them all break you, let the feeling come take you. It won't do you no good.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Furnace tune-ups are recommended each year to keep your heating system running efficiently, prevent repairs, and extend its life. Schedule your furnace tune-up and get into your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at throttlenet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
Lakeside Renovation and Design is the very best when it comes to making that spot in your house that's just maybe not functioning exactly the best, that's not the best use of space. Let Lakeside Renovation and Design come in and transform it into an area that you absolutely love. What about the siding on your house? Do you need that James Hardy siding on your house to transform it into a magnificent work of art? Every time you pull into that driveway and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's my house. I'm so proud of how beautiful it is. Some of the restorations that Lakeside has been doing with this James Hardy siding with the infinity window replacements are just blow your mind, stunning. Go online and find out how you can use their services, especially when it comes to 18 months interest-free financing. Really a wonderful way to save on your project and to budget for your project. They work with all different kinds of budgets. They'll work with yours for sure. Visit them online at lakesidерenovationanddesign.com.
The med spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the med spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income in just 5 payments? You heard right. In just 5 payments, set up a six-figure retirement cash flow for as long as you live. There's a retirement crisis in America because the pension system of old has been raided and destroyed, and Social Security is already running out of money. Most Americans are shocked to find out they need over $2.5 million to have $100,000 in retirement. A new approach is required to solve this crisis. That's why this revolutionary 5-pay retirement program was released, allowing everyday Americans to use bank money to create a retirement cash flow without relying on Social Security or pensions. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it accelerates the amount they'll have at retirement or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement in just 5 payments, call Wealth Education Group now at 1-800-283-9595 to see if you qualify for this brand new program. Plus, as a free bonus, you'll get the 5-pay retirement guide and video. Call 800-283-9595. 1-800-283-9595. That's 1-800-283-9595.
Are you looking for ways to increase the value of your business property? Well, repainting is one of the most cost-effective options. Let the expert team at CertaPro Painters help protect your investment with professional results. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business you can support. Contact them today at CertaPro.com and discuss your project and get a proposal. CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Thank you to everybody who donated to make Mark bald. We raised $12,095 for Backstoppers.
Mark Cox. Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on 97.1 FM Talk.
take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take
This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
So COVID has taken more lives this year than any of the other years in 100 years. He lost his place on his teleprompter. It's a tough look. It's not good. I will tell you this other thing. You know, he gives a speech in Pittsburgh, and he's got. It's just I don't think that it's a problem. It's just the way he looks, but he kind of has a squint about him when he's reading, you know, like his teleprompter. Mm-hmm. It makes it look like he's concentrating really hard. It doesn't make him look confident. That's like body language type of stuff that people will read into. But he's looking just a little off center of camera. So it just looks bad. And then he gets done and he just like closes his binder and he walks off. Without a crowd there, it just looks very, very bizarre.
It's the same thing as the DNC. There's no crowd, made it feel weird.
Yeah. All right,
although some of the RNC was that way too, but I loved when they had a crowd. I really thought that set it apart.
I thought that the RNC was 100% perfect there. I just wanted to make some people turn around and chafe and itch, and she did it again. No, I actually did. No, that's not true. Kimberly Guilfoyle still. So really, Trump. Did you hear Trump called her? And I read that Trump called her and said that she sounded like Ava Perón. And I'm like, I wonder if she took it as a compliment. Wonder if he meant it as a compliment.
Oh, by the way, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time that you went on a date?
2007. I don't know.
And I don't mean before you got married. I mean last time you and your husband went on an actual date.
I'm talking about 2007.
Oh, you are.
I don't know. We had kids in 2010. No, 2009. Sorry, Charlie. I don't know. It's been not possible with COVID.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was asking, because we got our first date on Friday night.
Did you go with your wife?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, she was there anyway.
Just two tables down was really awkward.
Yeah.
Socially distanced, of course.
we both participated in pretending we were on a date. But it was odd because of everything you just said. Like you don't do this right now. We don't ever get away anyway because we have 3 kids. But then in the middle of coronavirus, we haven't done it probably in that sounds bad, but we haven't been
gone on a date
on a date in probably 6 or 7 months.
There's some things I just don't want to talk about.
And
I think it's convenient that you're blaming COVID for this lack of dating.
No, it's true. Like
prior to that,
you got a baby.
We were dating every week, all the time. But you're conveniently blaming COVID here. That's nice.
Frank, you've got a baby at home. Have you and your Katie, your wife? There's a lot of Katies on this show. Have you and your Katie been able to date?
No.
No. It's not COVID,
I blame
it's children.
Felix. Personally, it's Felix's fault.
But did you go out a lot before the baby?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're party people.
Because there were things to do. Currently, there's no things to do. I mean,
well, that's coronavirus.
Season ticket holder for the Cardinals, went to a whole lot of Billiken games. We'd go to trivia, that sort of things. Yeah.
I think too. It's not just for me. It's not just that there isn't something to do, because my husband and I would always be able to.
You like to hunker down, though. Come on.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't mind being at home, but I think that the idea of taking kids somewhere and getting someone to watch your kids is difficult. Like you can't just dump your kids off somewhere. It depends on where you've been and what you've been doing and who your normal sitters are and if they're available, and it's just complicated.
Yeah, we had to call I think 3 or 4 restaurants before we found one that was open, so that was weird.
Did you eat in?
Yeah, we did. We wanted to sit down and have dinner, and we finally found one in Fairview Heights that was open.
Where?
Tong Foon. in Fairview Heights. It's a Thai restaurant.
That sounds a little too exotic for Annie.
Yeah, I don't think Annie's gonna.
I didn't
that.
hear you say smoked barbecue. In that
Yeah,
sentence.
we did call a couple barbecue places and everything was closed.
Yeah.
So we ended up there.
I eat like a child, people.
Yeah.
I'm just not cultured in that regard.
Mac and cheese.
Yeah, here's mac and cheese and a hamburger.
Meat and taters, folks. There's nothing wrong with it.
But at the end of the date, we normally, when we would go on dates,
Did you kiss her?
I'm not gonna,
Did you hold her hand?
Maybe, probably. I don't know. So it's getting weird.
What
so
about your wife?
Yeah. So we were going to. We normally go out for dessert after dinner, but we didn't want to go through the process of having to call dessert places over and over to see what was open.
You want to know what I discovered over the weekend?
Please.
That whenever we do like Ask Me Anythings or Real or Fake News on Fridays or whatever, all of Ryan's contributions are just so he can tell a story about something that just happened in his life. It's really funny. I was going back and I'm like, yeah, it's almost batting. Have you gone on any dates lately? Let me tell you about my weekend. And then you fill 3 minutes with it, which is fantastic at the end of the show.
I'm doing it all for you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. We're doing it again.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the story was that at the end of the
Annie,
day,
do you like Thai food? Let me tell you about this restaurant.
Let me tell you about where I went. Oh, you're still here?
Annie,
you should be in politics.
Annie, you ever tried to write a book? Man, let me tell you about something that I'm
I've got
writing
this
right
book that I've written.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And let me tell you where it's available.
Frank, thanks for filling in for Katie.
You're welcome.
People wanted to know if they could ask you or tell you jokes in the break, and we never got around to it because we've been so busy.
It's been a busy show.
The next time
like
you're on
jokes
here,
either.
you're going to have to elevate your game.
That's
No
not
offense to Katie, but I think that getting Frank's goat on a cheesy joke might be a little bit more difficult than Katie's, but maybe not. I would have to test that theory. So the next time you're in here for Katie, we will have folks tell you jokes and you can rate them on the breaks. But always good to have you back.
Thank you.
Frank is my OG producer. Well, Rachel from the Glover Show produced my show for maybe 3 weeks. She was my first
She doesn't
producer.
count.
And then she went to the big leagues and went up to the Dave Glover Show. And then Frank and I worked on Saturdays for 2 years together and then moved to middays together. And so Frank and I have been working on this show together more than anybody. So it's always good to have you back.
Thank
It
you.
seems
Annie.
like everybody's your original producer, though.
Bye, Ryan.
Isn't that kind of accurate?
Annie, have you ever been a producer before? Let me tell you about the time that I produced the Dave
I used to
Glover
be a
Show.
producer. Can I tell
used to
you
be a
about that?
producer. Yeah, I make skits. They were really funny. And then Dave said, "How about you go work on Annie's show?"
Why did you leave for a long time?
Such an
That's not
awkward
how-
conversation.
That's not how it went at all.
Yes, it was.
I demanded that Ryan come to my show, and Dave had to relinquish Ryan, and the rest is history. And now he's here telling us about his dinners. with his
Boring
wife.
stories.
All right. Katie will be back tomorrow. Thanks for everybody who's watching on our live and listening at radio.com. DGS coming up next.
As your employees are transitioning back to work, you want to provide a safe environment for